8 short of halfway. It's the final play in the first set of this elimination semi. Hugo Savala kicks down the right channel. It's taken on the full by Will Kennedy, and it's a decent run back into the Roosters traffic where he'll get up and play the ball 21 away from the line. We heard Dino Mezzatesta saying they're in no rush to finalise negotiations with Will Kennedy, who is still looking for a new contract, and Cronulla through Ronaldo Mulitalo in just their second play of the evening. We've only had a minute 20. They come up with an error as Mulitalo juggles it, loses the ball as he tries to play it. Dean Hallertau, the Roosters will get a scrum 25 away from Cronulla's line. No score after a minute and a half.
Yeah, really early opportunity here for the Roosters. They had a pretty good set to start things off. Got a nice kick away, and then Mulitalo has a strong carry. He's got lots of energy. As we know, when he plays his footy, he tries to play the ball too quickly and comes up with the mistake, and there was no challenge coming. He thought there might have been some Roosters players around him, but it was just sloppiness from the winger trying to get up too quick.
So will we see a scrum play here? The Roosters have opted to take it on the 20-metre line from this western touch line, and they are spread out towards the left. Sam Walker's waiting for it at first receiver from the base of the scrum. Now Tedesco changes direction back towards traffic, and 23 metres away from the line in centre field, getting up and playing it is Uelu. They go to the left-hand side. Spencer Leniu is only 16 away from the line. Great opportunity for the Roosters to open the scoring tonight. They come to the right. Savala's at first receiver. Walker dummies, continues on, and then going to ground is Rob Toyer, 11 away from Cronulla's line. 15 in from the western touchline. Uelu dummy half left for Walker. Back on the inside, Nafahu White. Good defending from the Sharks. They push him back 4 or 5 metres. Jesse Kahuna over the top. Toby Rudolph involved as well, and that just gives Cronulla a little bit of forward momentum in defence. But they spin it left here, the Roosters. Tedesco gets it away to Billy Smith. He pushes a couple away, takes the tackle, 7 away. Only 2 in from the eastern touchline, so they'll have to come back to the right. Walker at second receiver. Kicks across field, going for Nwanganita-Waze. Loses it backwards, still the last. Radley picks it up, gets it away to Toyer, brought to ground a metre short of the line. Nwanganita-Waze did well to bat it back. Radley saw the space down the right-hand side, but the Cronulla defence closed quickly, and they kept Toyer out. Cronulla will get a changeover, 3 away from their own goal line. We've had 3.5 minutes of play. There's no score touchline, Matthew Elliott.
Well, the one thing you don't want to do with the Roosters is give them set play starts, either penalties or scrums. That was a great set from the Roosters, equalled by a really great defensive set by the Sharks.
Having to work hard to come away from their own end now. Cronulla, Mulitalo, after dropping the ball, playing it with his first carry, gets up and plays it with his next, and they go one off the ruck, open side right, and they're 17 away in centre field with Colquhoun getting up and playing it. They come back one off the ruck, left-hand side for Toby Rudolph. He will play the ball 25 away from his own line. No score between the Sharks and the Roosters. Kicking early is Braden Trindle from inside 30, but it just sits up on its belly, that ball, and it gives Mark Nwanganita-Waze time to go back towards the 10-metre line, and it's a good chase from the Sharks. Trindle has kicked that from about 25 away from his own line, and the Roosters, Dean Hallertau, starting this set 13 away from theirs.
Yeah, good turnaround kick there from Trindle. As you say early, he sees the space in behind. James Tedesco was defending a little bit shallow behind his own line, and then Mark Nwanganita-Waze had to get on his bike, get back there, but it was a great chase, as you said, from the Sharks' left side.
No score, 5th place Sharks and 8th place Roosters. Matt Elliott, Dean Hallertau, Glenn Lauder on ABC Sport. We've had 4.5 minutes, and the Roosters are coming away from their own end through Nafahu White. He takes the tackle 8 metres short of halfway after he's wrestled to the ground by Billy Burns. Final play for the Roosters. Savala kicks from 5 metres inside his own territory. It's straight down the middle. Will Kennedy has time to take it 12 away from his own line. He throws a long ball over the top, having to leap high and grab it out of the air, and thankfully doing so for Cronulla fans is Ronaldo Mulitalo, but it was a long ball over the top in his own red zone there from Will Kennedy, and no harm done, because on the next play, Iro will get up and play it 27 away centre field. They go to the right-hand side now. Sione Katoa is 32 away, 26 in from the eastern touchline. One-handed pick up out of dummy half. Brayley Hines touches the ball for the first time, and he's whacked as well. Sam Walker coming over the top, and one other for the Roosters. And Nicho Hines, an introduction to this game, a very heavy one. 5.5 in, no score. Fanua Blake is 7 inside Roosters territory, and Hines will put the kick down that right-hand channel. Waiting for it is Tupou over on the far side, coming back into the centre and taking the tackle. 20 away from his own goal line. We've had 6 minutes of play. There's no score between the Sharks and the Roosters.
Yeah, end-to-end stuff already in this game, and it's very hard to split them. As we spoke about before the match, it was going to be a fairly even contest. But one thing I love to see in that last hit from the Sharks was Nicho Hines taking on a short side, going for a run. He got some heavy contact and got up quickly, but it's a good sign to see him move early.
Lindsay Collins plays the ball, and they come right quickly. James Tedesco looking to split the line, but they hold on to him, and he goes to ground about a metre inside Sharks territory. It was a good run from the fullback. Left-hand side, Walker gets it away to Nafahu White. He's held up in the tackle and then maybe put on his back. No, they keep him held up about 11 inside Cronulla territory on the last. Left out of dummy half for Walker to go high in the air. Chase is coming through. Billy Smith goes completely without it. It's batted back over on the far side by Crichton, but then picked up by Cronulla, and Nicho Hines 19 away from his line. So he'll play it on one because it was all backwards off the Roosters, but final play, Cronulla picking it up in a changeover, and now they have the ball quickly out of dummy half going right-hand side, and Katoa's met in a good tackle about 29 away. Now Brayley trying to scoot out. Was Lindsay Collins on side at marker? He was, says Todd Smith. So Blake Brayley was trying to catch Lindsay Collins out, but the referee was happy that he was square. Now they continue through the middle. It's the last tackle for the Sharks. They're 7 short of halfway, so Hines will kick from just outside 40. Tupou again waiting for it about 15 away from his own line, and he returns it back into the middle where Billy Burns comes over the top, and Toby Rudolph's involved as well. With no score between Cronulla and the Roosters, we've had 7.5. Let's get down to the touchline, Matthew Elliott.
I can tell you, sitting on the touchline, the intensity of the collision down here, you can hear the collisions sitting on the sideline. You just got to be careful who you do it to, because if you try and tee off, oh, hang on.
Marky Mark, I don't think we get through here, Matthew. I think you're safe for now. He's 10 short of halfway.
He only beat 4 tackles. Come on, Mark, you can do better than that. James Tedesco gets it at 6 again.
So they continue to the left-hand side. Lindsay Collins, yeah, it feels like a really fast game from up here as well. The intensity is huge. Collins is 5 inside Cronulla territory. Might have been a forward pass. They go left. The referee didn't call it. It doesn't matter. It's been knocked down by a Cronulla player, and it is going to be a knock on Cronulla. The Roosters couldn't pick it up cleanly, but the Roosters will get a scrum here about 13 inside Cronulla territory. Todd Smith.
Yeah, we want to go that way. Okay, just so you know, big quick, yeah?
So Todd Smith's just telling James Tedesco to hurry up to tell him where he wants the scrum. This one will be packed in the middle of the field. But yeah, Dino just knocked down by Braden Trindle, and the Sharks will have to do another defensive set in their own half.
Yeah, we look at it like a questionable pass from dummy half, as you said, but the mistake coming from the touch, and the Roosters shift to their right immediately. Big contact.
And now they lose the ball through Rob Toya, and it will be a scrum feed to the Sharks. And geez, they love this. Ronaldo Mulatalo is getting surrounded by his Sharks teammates. It was a big hit on Rob Toya, and maybe, depending on if that was a forward pass, justice has been done. And Matthew, right in front of you, Braden Trindle's already struggling.
He got some contact when he tackled Mark Nawanga-Niduwase there before, and I don't know if he's got a poke in the eye, but he's struggling at the moment, that's for sure, coming out of that contact.
Yeah, of course, missing last week's game against Canterbury with that ankle injury that he suffered here against Newcastle in the penultimate round of the season, but he runs back over to feed the scrum. Now, that's lost by Katoa, but it's lost backwards, and it's picked up by Billy Burns, and Cronulla will maintain possession. But after a really frantic start to this game, a couple of errors starting to creep in, and both teams really starting to feel the heat after 10 minutes and no score between the 5th place Sharks and the 8th place Roosters. Matthew Elliott, Dean Hallertau, Glenn Lauder on ABC Sport. Aden Fanua Blake is 5 metres inside Roosters territory. They haven't found themselves in the Roosters half on too many occasions here, Cronulla. This could be an opportunity for them. They get up and play the ball through Colquhoun. They come to the left-hand side, and they will play the ball 33 metres metres away from the line in centre field on the final play. Brayley waiting at dummy half. He comes left for Trindle, who go to the skies towards the northwestern corner. Nwanganita goes up, takes it well, no surprise there, and the chasers quickly bring him to ground. 11 away from the line, where the Roosters come away from their own end again.
Even as he lands, Mark Nwanganita is brushing off from defenders coming through. He's just so strong. But I can't split the teams at the moment when the Roosters look like they get a set starting deep in their own end. They have a few carries to get them moving upfield, and they get a good kick away at the end. The Sharks are very similar.
It is a real arm wrestle. Victor Radley, 13 away from halfway. Quick play the ball. Uelu out of dummy half. Short right-hand side from Savala, and this time the referee has called the forward pass out of dummy half. So there was one about 3 sets ago that they got away with the Roosters. This time, Uelu doesn't get it right out of dummy half, and Cronulla get a scrum 12 metres inside Roosters territory. No score after 11 minutes.
I don't know I think maybe there was a mistake. Was there a mistake at the play the ball there?
That pass didn't look particularly forward out of dummy half. So Hugo Savala was the man who took the carry, and Cronulla will get the scrum 10 inside the Roosters half. So they start a set in positive territory here. Mulatalo 33 away from the line, then they go back in field, and KL Ito will get up and play the ball 30 away from the line in centre field. They continue to the right, and Hamlin Ueli gets it away to Colquhoun. Colquhoun is 20 away from the Roosters line, 20 in from the eastern touchline. They come back left, Hines short at first receiver, gets it to Aden Fanua-Blake, who goes back towards traffic, and he's held up in the tackle, 14 away. Gets to play the ball for Brayley, left-hand side. Hines changes direction again, trying to find a way through a gap with Colquhoun, but they close the gap. It's the last play there, 8 away from the line. Brayley, Hines, short ball, Wilton loses it. He had a big look. It came off his arm as he was trying to run through a gap towards the goal line, and Teague Wilton loses the ball. The line was probably open, but he couldn't hold on to it. It just bounces off his frame as he tries to fly through that gap. No score after 12 minutes at Shark Park between Cronulla and the Roosters.
Yeah, he's running a really hard line down there, Teague Wilton, and as he's drifting across, Nico Hines throws the ball. It's really hard to catch those in contact. There was a bit of space there, so not a bad option, except you want to execute it better than that.
Uelu scoots out at dummy half, and he's met in a strong tackle, 17 away from the line. 0467 920 222. I will get to your text messages, but we barely had a break in play. Billy Smith is muscled backwards. You can hear the Cronulla fans applauding that defence. The Roosters are still only 15 away from their own goal line. This will be play 3, and they're on the 20-metre line through Spencer Leniu. He gets up and plays the ball, and Uelu out of dummy half goes left for Nafahu White. Nafahu White gets up over the 30-metre line. They'll be kicking from deep in their own half on the final play here. Savala from just outside his own 30. It is a deep kick, though. Will Kennedy takes it on the 10-metre line, but he's got plenty of time to return it towards traffic, and he skips away, tries to from Victor Radley anyway, but the English forward holds on and brings Kennedy down 22 away from the line. Now they come to the left, and KL Ito is 32 away, 15 in from the western touchline. He'll get up and play the ball. Back on the inside they go, the Sharks, and they have the ball 36 metres away from the line in centre field. Brayley waiting at dummy half. He comes back left now. Teague Wilton runs into traffic, and there's 3 Roosters to bring him down, Savala and Uelu. Plays the ball for Brayley. Colquhoun changes direction. Rudolph, strong carry into traffic again. Savala stands up, and he's helped out by Spencer Leniu. It's the final play there, 6 metres inside Roosters territory. They decide to spin it to the left. KL Ito doesn't know what to do. He passes it to Savala, who loses the ball backwards, so the Roosters can pick it up, and it'll be play 1 for them. Geez, that was a really poor last play option for the Cronulla Sharks. They just came to the left-hand side, and to compound it, they give away a penalty 32 metres away from the Roosters line. Well, that's really poor rugby league from Cronulla to not only not know what to do at the end of that set, but to give away a penalty. Nico Hines, 15 gone, no score, Dino.
Yeah, last second change of mind, I think, to run the ball on last, and then they run himself into a corner. Will Kennedy slips over, the ball goes to ground, so it is a turnover, but the penalty will bring the Roosters back into some attacking football, which the Sharks have been doing a good job to make a kick from their own end the last few sets.
They take the tap 10 metres inside Cronulla's half, and they advance it to about 34 away from Cronulla's line. Getting up and playing the ball is Leniu. They come to the left. Uelu links up with Walker, who changes direction and sends Lindsay Collins back towards the middle. 29 away from the line in centre field, getting up and playing it for Uelu. Left for Walker. Short ball for Nafahu White. Strong carry again from Big Fahu White, and he takes 3 Sharks with him and gets an offload away. They continue right-hand side. Sam Walker wants someone to come underneath. James Tedesco finally obliges to wrap around and then find himself 16 away from the line in centre field. Chance for the Roosters. Uelu dummy half right for Walker. Still no score. Savala gets it away to Rob Toya. He's wrapped up 8 away from the line, 3 in from the western touchline. The Wanganita-Waze dummy half. Left he goes for Savala. Walker back right now for Lindsay Collins. Straightens 10 away from the line. Final play. They come right short. Walker kicking towards the corner. It'll be too deep unless Mulatalo fumbles the ball. He does lose the ball forward. Mulatalo in the in goal. Will Kennedy ended up with it. Of course, no offsides in the in goal. It'll be a goal line dropout. But Ronaldo Mulatalo looked like he was going to be comfortable. And then once again, it was Mark de Wanganita-Waze that was all over him and forced the error and gets a goal line dropout. Touchline Matthew Elliott.
Yeah, a massive set defensively coming up here for the Roosters. What you can see that what they've done to the Sharks is really test the middle. Sharks need a short drop out here to get this ball back.
Lou asks, did James Tedesco play for the Sharks? No, he's a former West Tiger, a Campbelltown junior. Now it's a good goal line dropout. It forces Hugo Savala to fumble, but he fumbles backwards through his legs. But Cronulla can come up quickly. That was about 40 metres out from the line. And now Lindsay Collins starts the set 33 away. Centre field, they come left for Spencer Leniu. It was a good deep goal line dropout, a low stabbing one there from Nico Hines. Left-hand side, Tedesco. Runners coming through. They can't find a way past this Cronulla defence at the moment, and they'll get up and play the ball through Billy Smith. They come right. Once again, Sam Walker wants someone to wrap underneath. Now they change direction through Victor Radley. He'll take the tackle, 10 away from the line in centre field. No score. Uelu dummy half, left for Nafahu White. Goes towards traffic. Will Kennedy's in front of him and a couple of other Sharks stop him in his tracks. On the final play, loses the ball. Nafahu White had Sharks players hanging around him there as he tried to wrestle free to play the ball. They'll think about challenging. They're not going to, though. James Tedesco is asking the question if it was ripped out. They're not.
There's no ruck interference. It's a scrum here, mate.
They're not going to challenge it. James Tedesco asked the question, but you heard there Todd Smith saying there was no ruck interference. They were just trying to get off Nafahu White, who was trying to get a quick play the ball, a metre out from the line, and Cronulla get away with another attacking set there from the Roosters. No score after 18, Dino.
Yeah, it was a clumsy one there from Nafahu White. There was a number of players on him, but as he's trying to wrestle himself free, that's where the ball is dislodged, and unconvincing when he was asked if he should challenge it. A good call made by the referee, but they've immediately got on the front foot defensively now, the Roosters. Their line speed's enormous.
Sione Katoa struggling to get up and play the ball, 19 away from his line, and now they come to the left through KL Idor. He's 25 away, 20 in from the western touchline. We've had 19 minutes, no score in what you can expect from a 5th versus 8th elimination final. It is last chance saloon for both teams. Cronulla batted backwards under pressure from a racing Roosters defensive line. Nico Hines has to pick it up and they lose some forward momentum. Adam Fanua-Blake tries to get it back for them for the Cronulla Sharks. He pushes Nafahu White away from him at first receiver, but it's the final play and Braden Trindle has to kick from 25 out from his own line. It's a huge midfield bomb, old school style. It's batted around up in the air by Billy Smith and then ultimately picked up by his teammate over on that far side, Daniel Tupou. There were no hands from Cronulla forward and his hands, Billy Smith, went backwards. So it was play 1, this is play 2. James Tedesco has it 5 inside Cronulla's territory. They come to the left-hand side now here, the Roosters. Geez, it's been played at a really fast clip and Angus Crichton is 15 inside Cronulla's half now. Still no score. Lindsay Collins straightens towards traffic and he takes the tackle 33 away from the line. We're a quarter of the way through this one with Matthew Elliott, Dean Hallertau and Glenn Lauder at Shark Park. They spin it right. Tedesco gets it away to Rob Toya. Toya takes the tackle 20 away from Cronulla's line. Only 9 in from the western touchline. He'll play it for Nitawaze, gets it away to Hugo Savala and Sam Walker. And then finally, Nafahu White gets those big, powerful legs, and the post-contact meters get him to within 10 of the line. But it's a final play. Uelu, dummy half, right, Savala. Nawanga Nitawaze. Oh, can he do the juggle with the feet over the touchline? He does to keep it in. Now Savala kicks towards the in goal, and KL Lino does really well to shepherd it over the dead ball line. Geez, we've seen Mark Nawanga Nitawaze dance with the touchline this season, and he does so again there to tippy toes to try to keep it in and batted it away. But ultimately, Savala's kick was too deep, and Cronulla have a 7-tackle set.
Yeah, it never looks quite over, does it, when it gets out to Mark Nawanga Nitawaze, and he gets the ball back on the inside. It's a bit of hot potato from the Roosters, and Hugo Savala, he almost got it right on the kick. It was a good heads-up play. Last tackle, he drops it on the toe. He gets through, but it just gets across the dead ball line, and you're right, it was really good shepherding by Kale Liro.
Second quarter, Brisbane 23, Gold Coast 22 in the AFL semi-finals. Cronulla coming away from their own end. Brayley takes a quick play the ball, 12 short of the halfway line, and then so too Katoa scoots out a dummy half. He takes the tackle, one inside his own territory. Now they come right. Hines, long ball over the top. Billy Burns puts it on the toe. Flying through is Jesse Ramian and Hines, but it'll be too deep. That's what you get when a second rower kicks from 40 out. It goes over the dead ball line. Ramian and Hines were flying through, but the Roosters will get a 7-tackle set now. Was that the right idea from Billy Burns on play 3, Dino?
I didn't mind it if he gets it right, because James Tedesco was out of position and it just goes dead. So he certainly asked a lot of questions in the backfield there from the Roosters. They had to scramble, and the Sharks are pouring through, but it does give the Roosters a bit of a breather and a 7-tackle set.
All right, somewhat unconventional, but it almost came off. Left-hand side, they have it through Angus Crichton, and he has 3 Cronulla players. One falls off, and then finally Rudolph completes the tackle. It's a quick play the ball. Watson's on the field, goes out of dummy half, and he links up with Egan the Vegan Butcher, who gets a penalty with his first touch of the game. Egan Butcher is caught high, and 18 minutes to go in the first half. James Tedesco is just asking a question again. It was a shoulder charge there of Adam Fanua Blake, and they get the penalty 6 metres inside Cronulla's territory.
Yeah, he's gone in on the wrong shoulder and obviously tucked the arm up against his body. This won't find touch, will it? Just creeps over inside the 10-metre. But there's been a lot of errors in this game so far. I know it's been played fast, but both teams a lack of discipline with their ball control.
Billy Smith takes the quick tap, gets it away to Sam Walker, and then he continues it on, and the Roosters are only 3 metres away from the line now. Getting up and playing it is Collins. They continue right to Fahu White. Tries to bounce away from a couple held up in the tackle. Egan Butcher, not a vegan, by the way. Just ask John Gibbs. 6 again. Cronulla give away right near their line. They go left, the Roosters. Sam Walker keeps it alive, and then finally they take the tackle through Angus Crichton. 9 away from the line. They go left. Walker changes direction back right to Butcher. Butcher is 6 away from the line. Brought to ground by Brayley. Watson dummy half right. Walker keeps it alive. Savala, Tedesco takes it to the line. He's got Marky Mark. Takes them on and scores. Oh, you can't stop him from that close to the line. He was running out of room, and he doesn't care. Mark Nawanga Nitawaze with his 25th try of the season, and it's another specky close to the touchline. I mean, it's a specky in normal terms. It won't get in his top 10, but with 16:20 to go, the deadlock has been broken. The Roosters 4, Cronulla 0, kick to come.
Yeah, and it comes off. The Roosters getting some possession off a penalty down, deep down in Cronulla's territory, and 100% gets out to Mark Nawanga Nitawaze, and you think there's no way he can take on the cover defence coming across because he doesn't have enough room, but he puts a little stutter step on, or almost a goosey, and then he just pins the ears and goes straight for the corner. He's so big and strong that he's able to shove away the defenders and get the ball down right in the corner.
That is just ridiculous, Matthew Elliott, with Will Kennedy and Ronaldo Mulatalo bearing down on him, but they were, even though it was 2-on-1, they were about 20-80 chance of getting him.
Yeah, he's got great speed, but I also want to acknowledge Savala there. He knew who he was giving the ball to. He didn't go to the line. He just gave him some nice early ball, created the space for him to get over that stripe. So Sharks have scrambled really well defensively, but you can't give the Roosters that amount of possession inside your 20-metre area without a consequence.
So Mark Nawonga-Nitawaze has now scored 24 tries this season, 25 in his career, and he only needs one more to equal the second most tries in a Roosters season in history, and that dates back to 1936 when Fred Totty scored 25. Dave Brown with the record one season before he scored 38. So I think Dave Brown's in fairly safe hands unless the Roosters go all the way to the grand final and Marky Mark picks up another 4 on the way or something like that. He needs a few. So Sam Walker is about 30 centimetres in from the western touchline, right in front of Matthew Elliott, who could be whispering Ted Lowe down on the touchline. But
I can tell you he's taken a little while to line it up, but he's put some pressure on himself. Here we go.
Sammy Walker a little bit nervous. He probably doesn't need to be. He's 38 from 40 this season. Got an outstanding goal-kicking record has Sam Walker since he came back in round 19 against the Dragons from that ACL. And then that thumb injury moves in, and I put the kiss of death on him because he shanks it across the face and he's unable to add the extras. The score remains the Roosters 4 leading the 5th place Cronulla Sharks 0 with 15 minutes left in what has been a pulsating first half. Brisbane leading Gold Coast 29-22 in the AFL semi-final. 0467 920 222. The Kelpies jumping over my head again, says Trish in Concord. Ants from Levine says happy Saturday. Glendina and Padre up Cronulla. Love and prayers to my entire ABC footy family. Maury, best wishes. Thank you, staff. Yeah, there's the AFL score for you. Matty, when you're talking to Dino Mezzatesta again, ask him to give Luke Lewis an assisting coaching kick. Thank you very much. And Sean, the Quiet Queenslander, has confirmed that Quentin Hull is giving NRL updates on the AFL. Thank you very much for that, Sean, keeping us informed. 0467 920 222. Lindsay Collins with first use of the ball after the Roosters opened the scoring through Mark Nawonga-Nitawaze with his 24th of the season, 25th of his career. And here he goes again. Bounces away from a couple of Sharks, goes towards the right-hand touchline, brought to ground 10 in and 29 away from his own goal line. Waiting for it at dummy half is Savala. Left-hand side, Egan Butcher bounces into the Cronulla defence. Toby Rudolph, Blake Brayley getting in there to help out after Aden Fanua-Blake's initial contact. Butcher plays it 32 away from the line. Connor Watson scoots out of dummy half, makes it to within 10 of the halfway line. They come left. Tedesco short for Nafahu White, and Nafahu White takes a few Cronulla players with him. More post-contact metres for him. He's 8 inside Cronulla's territory on the last. They lead 4-0. Sam Walker puts the kick high up in the air. Chasers are coming through, led by Tedesco, knocked back by Tedesco. He said it's come forward off James Tedesco and then forward off Will Kennedy. So the rule from Todd Smith, James Tedesco is going to challenge this.
Kick on tackle 5. Had first touch off James, then on Cronulla. Roosters are challenging.
So
I know James Tedesco is the one that's challenged this because he was in the contest and he's a skipper, but I feel like he's pulled it into his chest and then it's gone into Will Kennedy. So
my first thought was that he knocked it backwards. It's come off his head and then it's come off Tedesco's head and then backwards off his hand. We'll see on a different replay here. It goes backwards off James Tedesco's hand after it bounces off his head or shoulder, I believe.
Yeah. It's going to be top. Might be one of those inconclusive ones.
Matthew Elliott touched on the head.
Just need to see if Will gets a touch on it at any point. Is that a challenge now?
So, Matthew Elliott, it sounds like that the video referee, Chris Butler, is saying that it's come off Tedesco's head first.
Yeah, but it'll be the end of the set anyway, so it's not 6 again, so it'll be a turnover for the Sharks. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, no, 5th play. You're exactly right, Matthew, of course.
Say that again, sorry. Again, a really key moment here for the Sharks. They've got their middles come being changed over. That was a big point in their victory last week against the Bulldogs. So see if they can have the same impact.
So just confirmation, supporting the on-field decision, challenge unsuccessful. It's the final play, and the Roosters have now lost their challenge. They lead 4 points to 0, and Cronulla have a scrum feed 20 away from their own line, trailing 4-0 with 14 to go first half.
Yeah, I feel like it's a tough challenge to make when there's so much going on in those contests. It can be a little bit of a guess, but it has gone against the Roosters.
Kale Idor, after the scrum win on the left-hand side, is just being told by Todd Smith to go back and play it on the mark. And so what he does, he gets the ball back after passing and plays it in exactly the same spot that he did the first time. And now the Roosters will give a penalty away. Connor Watson, Nafahu White, in fact, was the man the referee is pointing to, was laying in the ruck, and Cronulla, this is a big relieving penalty for them. 23 metres away from their own line. Braden Trindle can find touch on the halfway line, all but, and with 13 minutes to go in the first half, they can start this set pretty much inside Roosters territory.
Yeah, this is a great field position for the Sharks, and let's see if they look to go through that expansive play that they've been so good at.
Oregon Kafusi is on the park for them. He'll get up and play the ball 5 metres inside Roosters territory. They go right, Nico Hines and Aden Fanua-Blake, who spins in the tackle, but they hold on to him and hold him up about 9 inside Roosters territory. Roosters leading 4-0. Brayley right out of dummy half for Billy Burns. Billy Burns takes the tackle 31 away, 23 in from the eastern touchline. Left, Hines changes direction, and now on the field is Braden Hamlin-Uele. He gets up, goes again, still going Braden Hamlin-Uele, and he'll take the tackle 21 away. Dummies from Brayley out of dummy half, gets it away to Kafusi, but it's a knock on. Kafusi loses the ball as he runs into the Roosters defence, and the Roosters will get the ball via a scrum feed 15 away from their own goal line. They lead 4 points to 0 with 12 to go in the opening half.
Yeah, they've been pretty poor with their completion rates tonight, the Sharks, and we spoke about how good they were last week against the Bulldogs. They completed really high, combined that with some really strong defence, and that's why they had such a strong performance. So this is a little bit different to what they were dishing up last week.
Savala feeds the scrum. Watson's there at the base to pick it up and go left for Daniel Tupou. Daniel Tupou loses the ball, but there were hands in it. It's stripped out, and the Roosters get the penalty 19 away from their own goal line, and they are questioning whether to challenge this one. Blake Brayley is walking over. Todd Smith calls timeout, and they are going to have a look at this one. Cronulla.
Captain's challenge from Cronulla.
Seemed open and shut.
Nico Hines, Cronulla challenging him.
Live, but it is about 50 metres away from us, and the replay, Dino, will be telling. Matthew, turn your microphone on. No, maybe not. It's not Nico Hines. It's good.
He's making a tackle. It's a loose carry from Daniel.
It's a successful challenge.
There you go, good call from, I think it was Nico Hines that pushed for it. So that one will go with the Sharks, and they've still got one left.
Yeah, so the ball did look like it came out in a stripping motion because it spun backwards as they tend to do. But Nico Hines' head was up underneath the ball, and as he was coming out of the tackle, he brought the ball with him through no fault of his own. So they win the scrum. They go left. Hines is waiting for it, gets it away to Will Kennedy. Hines was taken slightly late, but nothing doing from Victor Radley. So Kennedy plays the ball 12 away from the line. They come back right. Braden Hamlin-Uele is about 10 metres away in centre field. They trail 4-0, 11 and a half to go first half. Oregon Kafusi straightens back towards traffic. 4 away from the line, adjacent to the right-hand upright. Brayley at dummy half comes left. Hines to the line. Trindle gets it away. In on numbers. Once again, Marky Mark getting it done in defence, because if he got the pass away, Mulatalo could have scored, and now Nico Hines loses it, but he loses it backwards. I thought he dropped it cold, but it went backwards. It's picked up by Kennedy. Right-hand side, they might have numbers here. Billy Burns gets it away to Katoa, but he's brought to ground 11 away from the line. The Roosters scrambling. Here comes Jesse Ramey, and he's only a metre away from the line on the last, but he can't get through. And the Roosters goal line defence comes up trumps there. The Cronulla Sharks were throwing the ball around. They had the Roosters on on the rack, but they've done really well close to the line. The Roosters hold on. They lead 4-0 with 10 and a half to go in the first half. Let's get down to the touchline, Matthew Elliott.
Yeah, sorry about that before, gentlemen. I was just checking on Braden Trindle. He's just got a little bit of an eye injury, so he doesn't have really clear vision at the moment. That's why some of his passing's a little off the mark.
Another piggyback here from Cronulla. They're inside the 10 and they give away a penalty 15, 16 metres away from the Roosters line. This is the opportunity that they wanted to try to keep the Roosters down there. But now Hugo Savala will be able to kick for touch with 10 to go in the first half. And it's a good kick as well because the Roosters, instead of coming away from their own 10-metre line, they'll start a set 10 short of halfway.
Yeah, the game's gotten a little bit scrappy over the last few sets from both teams with the errors and now the penalties as well. It's just really slowed things down. The rhythm's gone out. But the Roosters are still carrying the ball really strong. They're up over halfway off the back of that restart and they're getting themselves back into that territory.
Froggy says they'll have to do it without me. I'm turning the radio off. Froggy, don't give up on them just yet. 0467 920 222. The Sharks are defending at the moment. Savala gets it away right-hand side. Rod Toya gets through. Idol goes again and brings him down with Braden Hamlin-Welle coming over the top. Addin Fanua-Blake there as well. They go to the left-hand side. Walker gets it away to Savala again. Good tackle from Billy Burns, one-on-one. 14 away from the line. 21 in from the eastern touchline. The Roosters on the attack here. Egan Butcher gets it away to Sam Walker. Short Radley takes the tackle. 7 away from the line. Final play with a 4-0 lead. 9 to go first half. Watson one-handed dummy half. Goes left, Lindsay Collins. And he's tackled in a really, really good defensive effort from Braden Hamlin-Welle and a couple of other Cronulla teammates. Oregon Kafusi was involved as well, with Lindsay Collins looking really dangerous close to the line, but possibly not the best last play option for the Roosters.
No, it was Watson jumping out. He looked to his left and he found a hard run in Lindsay Collins, but it was Hamlin-Welle, as you said, coming up with a big shot. And now the Roosters give away a penalty. So we're seeing the same thing up either end of the field. One team has a turnover, last play, die with the ball, whatever it might be, and they just give away a penalty and piggyback the other team out.
Yeah, and Lindsay Collins and Angus Crichton were really unhappy with each other there. Lindsay Collins was laying in the ruck. He couldn't roll free, and Angus Crichton was trying to slow it down, and then they blew up at each other after the penalty was given away, and they've found touch from their own 10-metre line here, Cronulla, 5 metres short of halfway. So we saw it at the other end with the Roosters, and now Cronulla have their own opportunity. Braden Hamlin-Welle is waiting at first receiver after Sifa Talakai is on the field now, gets up and plays the ball. They come to the left-hand side. Oregon Kafusi instead will take the hit up. 8 metres inside Roosters territory. Brayley out of dummy half. Talakai again. Kafusi goes towards the 30-metre line. He's in centre field. He'll get up slowly and play the ball after the tackle of Watson. They come right. Hines dummies, goes himself. Nico Hines is 20 away from the line. 7.5 to go. They trail by 4, the Sharks. Brayley's at dummy half. Left-hand side he goes. Trindle gets it away, but the Roosters defence scrambles again on the last to bring down Teague Wilton. Blake Brayley goes out of dummy half himself to the right. Grubbers towards the in goal. Oh, Tedesco's wrong-footed. He has to go behind him, and he takes the ball in the in goal, wraps it up. It's a goal line dropout, but the grubber was going towards the right. It got deflected and came back across the face of James Tedesco, who was wrong-footed. It was almost like a goalkeeper sees one deflected on the way through, and he was flat-footed, but he did really well to recover and land on the ball in the in goal because there were Sharks players coming through. It is a deep goal line dropout for the Roosters. They lead 4-0, 6.5 to go first half.
Yeah, I felt like it would have been a similar result had the ball kept going to his left anyway, but he did well to pivot and cover up at least a 4-pointer coming from that kick. It was his teammate Angus Crichton come up with the deflection.
Angus Crichton is now doing the defending, and Oregon Kafusi is struggling after that hit up, after that long goal line dropout. Here's Brayley, gets it away to Sifa Talakai, and they're 18 away from the Roosters line now here, the Sharks, with 6 to go in the first half. They come left for Hines. He takes it to the line, gets it away to Teague Wilton, and then Victor Radley's involved in the tackle to stop Wilton. 9 away from the line. Brayley comes right. Hines again. Short ball here for Kafusi. He gets an offload. Brayley backing up close to the line, and now Sifa Talakai slides under, but they keep him out. I don't know how the Roosters stop Talakai scoring there under the sticks. It's the last tackle. Trindle at first receiver. They were quick out of the line, so he might have numbers. Basketball pass over the top. Mulatalo scores the try. They get the extra man from Rob Toyer pushing out quickly. He wasn't able to wrap the ball up. And then the basketball pass over the top was a beauty. And Ronaldo Mulitalo will score his 14th of the season, 98th career try. He's getting close to 100, but more importantly, with 5 to go in the first half, Cronulla 4, Roosters 4, and a kick to come.
Yeah, it was the big stop on Sifa Talakai that really got the defence of the Roosters disjointed, and on their right edge, they felt like they had to come up and shut things down, solve what was looking like a really threatening shift to their left on last play. Braden Trindle hops out the outside of the pressure coming from Rob Toyer, and there was just players coming all over the place from the Roosters trying to shut things down. He manages to get his arms free, basketball it over the top, as you said, to Mulitalo, and I think it was Victor Radley had come out to almost cover in the sideline, and he slips over, and there's just bodies everywhere, and he strolls over.
Oh, what an important time to score, Matthew Elliott.
Yeah, you nailed that, Dean. What we saw there was the first 5 plays, the Cronulla Sharks tested the middle third of the Roosters defensive unit, and that created the opportunity on that last play. But what about the poise from Trindle there? Players racing up on him, just then his offload, just that last second there to Mulitalo was brilliant, nothing short of brilliant.
So Nico Hines is 20 metres in from the western touchline with the opportunity to give his side the lead. 4 minutes to go in the first half. They've had to do it the hard way, the Cronulla Sharks. They've been up against it for large parts of this one. Hines makes no mistake, and it is the Sharks leading the Roosters by 6 points to 4. And Ronaldo Mulitalo now has 9 tries in 7 games and is in absolute red-hot form for this Cronulla side. He scored in round 12 against the Roosters as well. And they're in front around the grounds in the AFL. Second quarter, Brisbane 41, Gold Coast 28, 0467 920 222. Sam Walker forgot how to kick on the last two. Catching a cold, says Grimesy. Thank you for your text message. Here's Braden Hamlin Welle from the restart. Strong run. Takes the tackle, 12 away from the line. Craig Fitzgibbon needs to do a Ricky Stewart and yell from the sideline, enjoying the call. Thank you for that one. They have it through Brayley, 20 away from the line. One off the ruck, right goes Idor. He takes the tackle, 25 away. So the Sharks back in this one, leading 6-4 after conceding the first try. And they had the ball through Sifa Talakai. He might have lost the ball, but he did just about enough to hold on to it as he was put on his back by Watson, 35 away from his line. Kicking on 4 is Trindle from inside 40. Mark and Tedesco have to go back there, but it bounces kindly, and Wangani Dawaze takes it on his own goal line and then returns it up towards the 10, where he's brought down by Will Kennedy and a couple of other chasers, including Wilson and Idor. So they come out away from their own end again here, the Roosters. Rob Toyer will take it 13 away from his line. Cronulla would love to keep the Roosters boxed down here. Now here is Daniel Tupou looking for an offload, but he takes the tackle, held up 22 away from the line, gets the quick play the ball for Watson, comes short right Tedesco. Toyer bounces off one. Now he goes through a gap here, Rob Toyer, up over halfway. Trindle does well to wrap him up. 4 inside Cronulla's territory. Watson dummy half left Savala. Walker takes it to the line, Tedesco. They go coast to coast, end up 9 metres away from the eastern touchline, 33 away from the line on the last. They trail 6-4 now, the Roosters. Watson, I beg your pardon, Walker puts the high kick up in the air. Chasers are coming through, didn't really make a play for it. It bounces on the deck and then ends up straight in the arms of Ronaldo Mulitalo. He'll take the tackle, 11 away from the line. There's 2 minutes to go in the first half. Cronulla leading 6-4.
Yeah, better set there from the Roosters. A little break made by Robert Toyer. He's had a couple of opportunities slicing through the left edge defence of the Sharks, but that last kick there, no one really got near the ball, as you said. They kind of landed in the wrong drop zone, and the ball just goes straight to the Sharks.
Will Kennedy, 25 metres away from the line. Thanks to Damo listening in Athens in Greece. Appreciate that. Cronulla 25 out. They spin it to the left. Hamlin Welle will take the tackle of 3 Roosters players. Radley down low. Savala up top. And now Brayley at dummy half comes right for Hines under pressure from Connor Watson. They've been doing that all their careers, dating back to the under-8s. Nico Hines gave Connor Watson a broken collarbone in the under-8s. Almost ended his career, but they're on the same park tonight. And now the deep kick finds Tupou. Oh, Sam Walker loses the ball, tries to flick it off his boot. It's picked up by Jesse Ramian. Oh, ball back on the inside for Billy Burns. The reach around flick pass. That was sensational from Ramian. Billy Burns has found himself only 3 away from the line after Walker lost it. They come left. Hines steps back inside towards the right. Takes the tackle. 5 away from the line. There's a minute to go. First half. Can the Sharks get a second? Talakai spins it left. Trindle. Ball over the top. Mulatalo. They're not stopping him. Ronaldo Mulatalo had acres of space on the left wing. He scores a double. It's his 99th career try. It's his second of the night. And it gives Cronulla a 10 points to 4 lead after trailing 4-0. They've got a kick to come and there's only 35 seconds left in the opening half.
Yeah, well, the error from Sam Walker up the left-hand side, tries to go down a short side, gets a little bit cute with the dummy half run. He's looking for support, and I'm not sure how it came out. He's trying to throw a pass, but it popped out the back and then landed in the hands of the Cronulla Sharks. Billy Burns almost gets there, and when they shifted their left, really smart work there from Braden Trindle. He gets the ball in hand. He recognises that they're short on the right side. He throws the dummy and then just loops one over the top. The Roosters, Mark Nawangani-Dawase had gone infield to try and make a cover tackle on the previous play, so he was out of position. They had Lindsay Collins covering over, Victor Radley out of position, and Robert Toyer was all at sea by himself.
Touchline Matthew Elliott as the siren goes in the background.
Yeah, again, what Braden Trindle did there was brilliant because he didn't just throw the ball to Mulatalo, he sunk into the line, and that's what made Nawangani-Dawase sink in, and he just floated the ball over his head. And in a half where they haven't dominated possession, they certainly are dominating the scoreboard, the Sharks.
So Ronaldo Mulatalo has now scored multiple tries in 4 straight games at Shark Park. He has 9 in his last 4 games at the venue. The only other Shark to ever score multiples in 4 straight games, Colin Best back in 1999. Hines from 2 in from the touchline. Oh, it's a beautiful bit of fade, a bit of draw, I beg your pardon, and makes no mistake. 12 points to 4 at half time. That is a wonderful conversion from virtually the touchline from Nico Hines. 2 from 2 tonight. Ronaldo Mulatalo with a double. And despite being the team with, you'd have to say, less of the run of play, they go into the sheds leading by 12 points to 4. Dean Hallertau, they must be delighted, the Sharks.
Yeah, they scrapped really hard throughout that half of football and have finished on top. They iced a couple of opportunities late with those tries that they've scored. Ronaldo Mulatalo, both of them, and mistakes from the Roosters enabled the Sharks to get into good territory. For the most part of the first, say, 20 minutes, it was very similar football from both sides. Getting through their sets with some good ruck roll downfield, get to a kick, and then shape up in defence. Good line speed, presenting a really strong front, and just handling the opposition. And then once the Roosters got that first opportunity, it was just through some individual brilliance. They shifted the ball to their right. Mark Nawangani-Dawase does what he does and bamboozled the defenders, got over. And then the game started getting a little bit messy. There was mistakes, there was penalties, there was ruck infringements. Neither team was really settled into the half, but the Sharks showed a bit of composure and were able to come up with those late opportunities. And again, through some really nice shifts, Matty Elliott identified their shifts to the left and the poise of Braden Trindle to pick the right options. And under pressure on the first one, comes up with a really nice offload. Yeah, so they'll go in definitely feeling very chuffed with how they've finished the half and the position they find themselves in.
It just makes things so much different at half time, doesn't it, Matthew, when you score those late tries?
Absolutely, and when you've only had 46% of possession, both teams are completing at 76%, and they'd be disappointed with that because in modern NRL, you're looking to sit somewhere in the mid-80s for it to be really effective. Quite surprisingly, though, Sharks have missed 20 tackles to the Roosters 8, so it's, and you can, exactly what Dean said there, the reason that the Roosters aren't better off on the scoreboard is that their final execution on last plays and key plays to get them across the stripe.
Yeah, it's been a really even half when you look at a lot of the statistics. Run meters, Cronulla have made 660 from 91 runs, and the Roosters have made 687 from 91 runs. So almost identical. 3 line breaks to 2 in favour of the Roosters, but the Roosters have broken 21 tackles to 8, which obviously goes in hand with that stat, Matthew, the fact that Cronulla have missed more than 20 tackles and the Roosters only missing 8. The penalty count is in the favour of the Roosters, 3-2. Cronulla have committed 7 errors to the Roosters 6. The Roosters did score that first try through Mark Nwonga-Naduaze in the 23rd minute, and the Roosters conceding 2 tries in 6 minutes before half-time, with Ronaldo Mulitalo scoring a double. Keep those text messages coming through, 0467 920 222. Are the Sharks getting the rub of the green? It's like they're not at home, it would seem. What do you say? James Tedesco's like Cameron Smith back in the day. A few things to unpack there. I don't think they're getting the rub of the green. I think it's been a really good game of footy, and I think the referee has had minimal involvement. When he has done, he's done it well. Obviously, the Roosters lost their challenge because it was a good call from the referee, and loving the call. How many has Tupou had for his best try-scoring season? He must love watching on, says Barnaby from Toowoomba. Yeah, in reference to Mark Nwonga-Naduaze picking up his 24th of the season. To be fair, Daniel Tupou has 19 this season as well. He's only 2 off his record. He scored 21 last year. So in terms of those 2 wingers, they are certainly getting it done for the Roosters. Keep those text messages coming through on 0467 920 222. And it is the second quarter in that AFL semi-final at the Gabba between the Brisbane Lions and the Gold Coast Suns. 48-34, the Lions leading the Suns in the Q Clash. Once again, just repeating at half-time, 12 points to 4, the Sharks over the Roosters, with Ronaldo Mulitalo and Mark Nwonga-Naduaze scoring for the Roosters. Nico Hines with 2 from 2 for the Sharks, and Sam Walker was unable to add the extras for Nwonga-Naduaze's try for the Roosters. Earlier, it was a win for the Penrith Panthers, ending the New Zealand Warriors season 24 points to 8, and we will be back here at Shark Park with plenty more in the second half after we get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with David Rowlands. Police have briefly clashed with Indigenous sovereignty protesters in the Melbourne CBD this afternoon. Jordan Can has more.
Police rushed to move demonstrators on after one was allegedly capsicum sprayed on St Kilda Road Bridge near the National Gallery of Victoria. One protester claimed a group was trying to get back to Camp Sovereignty, but was blocked by mounted and riot police. Camp Sovereignty, an Indigenous gathering site in King's Domain, was attacked 2 weeks ago following an anti-immigration protest. After officers moved the crowd on, tensions quickly de-escalated. Roughly 150 police appeared to successfully keep the Indigenous Sovereignty March separate from another protest of roughly 400 people with a mix of far-right views near Parliament earlier this afternoon.
Industry and Innovation Minister Tim Ayres is urging parents to educate their children about confronting content on social media following the assassination of right-wing American commentator Charlie Kirk. Australia's online safety watchdog has received multiple complaints about young people watching graphic footage of the shooting on social media platforms. Senator Ayres says parents are encouraged to talk to their children about what they've seen online.
This incident is a particularly disturbing incident in the United States, and it's the right thing for the Safety Commissioner to be warning parents and warning young people about the dangers of online content.
The search for alleged police killer Desi Freeman has concluded its 19th day in northeastern Victoria. Ashley Aldridge has the latest.
More than 400 police still remain here on the ground in northeast Victoria as the hunt for alleged gunman Desi Freeman continues. This morning we have seen the Victoria Police helicopter leave the staging area here in Ovens and travel to nearby Porpunka, where the incident occurred almost 3 weeks ago. Once there, it hovered low above the property and surrounding bushland for some time before returning back here to the staging area. We have learnt that that property has been returned to its owners, and there was quite a hive of activity and a number of people on the ground there this morning.
NATO is launching a new mission to boost defences along the borders of Russia and Belarus. Operation Eastern Sentry will see Denmark, France, Germany and the UK deploy equipment and troops along NATO's eastern flank. It comes after a number of Russian attack drones were intercepted in Polish airspace earlier in the week. The US representative at the UN, Dorothy Camille Shea, says the United States is committed to defending every inch of NATO territory.
The United States stands by our NATO allies in the face of these alarming airspace violations. The United States is consulting with Poland and our other NATO allies under Article 4 of the North Atlantic Treaty.
The Sydney man will serve a minimum of 2 years jail after tricking teenage girls into sending him nude photographs. The 26-year-old man was charged in 2022 following an investigation by the United States National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children. New South Wales Police later found the accused had manipulated 11 girls aged between 13 and 16 in Australia and the US to send him nude photos before threatening to send them to their family and friends unless they sent more content to him. He pleaded guilty to 11 charges, including possessing child abuse material and using a carriage service for sexual activity with a child. Two Australian men have been charged for allegedly trafficking firearms to a paramilitary group based in Indonesia. Joshua McIntosh explains.
An investigation was launched after the kidnapping of New Zealand pilot Philip Mertens by the Indonesian National Liberation Army of West Papua in 2023. Mr. Mertens was held by the paramilitary organisation for almost 600 days before being released in 2024. During investigations, officers uncovered evidence allegedly linking a New South Wales man and a Queensland man to the trafficking of firearms from Australia to Indonesia. Authorities will allege the men attempted to traffic firearms and ammunition to the paramilitary group and also allegedly discussed sourcing Australian military firearms. Both men will appear before the Brisbane Magistrates Court next month.
And the US Food and Drug Administration has cleared Apple to roll out a hypertension detection feature on some of its smartwatches. The company has unveiled a blood pressure monitor in its latest Apple Watch, using its sensor to analyse blood vessel responses to heartbeats. The feature is expected to be rolled out in 150 countries and regions, including the US and EU. ABC News.
September means finals for...
He's over 10, steps in field, they score!
But at ABC Sport, it also means we're counting down to the summer of cricket.
Mr. Smith sucks that through cover point away for 4.
Starting September 30, the Women's ODI World Cup.
Big six from Phoebe Litchfield.
Plus Australia versus India in the men's ODI and T20s. The WBBL, the Big Bash, and the biggest rivalry in the game.
The Ashes.
The Ashes.
Stark rumbles in and bowls it down. He's bowled it. First ball.
ABC Sport and the ABC Listen app. Your home of cricket this summer.
ABC Sports coverage of the 2025 NRL Final Series.
So we are just about in readiness. The 5th place Cronulla Sharks up against the 8th place Sydney Roosters. Blake Brayley getting us underway, and semi-final football continues on ABC Sport. Butcher is 6 away from the line. Brought to ground by Brayley. Watson dummy half right. Walker keeps it alive. Savala Tedesco takes it to the line. He's got Marky Mark. Takes them on and scores. Oh, you can't stop him from that close to the line. He was running out of room, but he doesn't care. Mark Nawonga-Nitawaze with his 25th try of the season. He gets an offload. Brayley backing up close to the line. And now Sifa Talakai slides under, but they keep him out. I don't know how the Roosters stop Talakai scoring there under the sticks. It's the last tackle. Trindle at first receiver. They were quick out of the line, so he might have numbers. Basketball pass over the top. Mulatalo. Ronaldo Mulatalo scores the try. 5 away from the line. There's a minute to go. First half. Can the Sharks get a second? Talakai spins it left. Trindle all over the top. Mulatalo. They're not stopping him. Ronaldo Mulatalo had acres of space on the left wing. He scores a double. It's his 99th career try. It's his second of the night, and it gives Cronulla a 10-4 lead after trailing 4-0.
ABC Sports coverage of the 2025 NRL Final Series.
On your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And on the ABC Listen app.
And Nico Hines converted that try of Ronaldo Mulatalo's to make it 12-4 at the break. The 5th placed Cronulla Sharks leading the 8th placed Sydney Roosters. Of course, the loser tonight is heading off for Mad Monday and end of season trip, while the winner will await either Canberra or Brisbane, loser of tomorrow's game in next week's semi-final in either Brisbane or Canberra on Saturday night. And the omens for the Roosters aren't good, because team that finished in 8th place dating back to 1999 have only won 4 times in the first week. However, twice out of those 4 times they've gone on to make the grand final. Parramatta in 2009 and the Cowboys in 2017. So if the Roosters can come from behind in this second half and get through to the next week, then maybe they can go on a run all the way to the big dance. You are with Matthew Elliott, Dean Hallertau. My name is Glenn Lauder on ABC Sport. We are coming to you from Shark Park, where it is the Cronulla Sutherland side leading 12 points to 4 at half-time. Dean Hallertau, the first half of that half, the first quarter, it was 0-0, played at a really, really fast clip, and then you got the feeling that that intensity did start to take it out of the two teams because the errors started to creep in, but it was a really still, that 40 minutes, high intensity 40 minutes of finals rugby league.
Yeah, well, it looked physical for that entire 40 minutes, but there was that patch of a few errors and a few stoppages that really slowed things down, and neither team handled that really well. I thought there was a little bit of loss of the rhythm that they had in their attacking structures, but then the Sharks were able to get a couple of tries close to half-time, and I think that came through a bit of patience and also some individual play by Braden Trindle that we've spoken about, and how he was able to create some opportunities off the back of some good field position for them on the left-hand side.
Matthew Elliott on the sideline. Of course, Craig Fitzgibbon and Trent Robinson spent a lot of time in the same dressing room as coach and assistant coach. What do you think their messages in their respective dressing rooms would have been at half-time?
Yeah, well, as an extension of what Dean said, I think their messages will be very similar, not only because they've spent time in the same dressing room, but they need to actually tidy up, most importantly, how they're finishing sets, because it was the last plays in that first half that really cost both teams, the execution of really good sets. A lot of the first 5 plays were great, and then last plays not so. And that's something that they really have to address in this half of footy.
Strap in, 40 minutes to go to decide who is staying alive in season 2025. The Roosters will be kicking towards the northern end of Shark Park. Cronulla will get first use of the football. 0467 920 222. Hi guys listening on the ABC app in Amsterdam have moved on from the Danube River cruise last week, heading home tonight. Mary and Gary, sounds absolutely sensational. I'm very jealous. Tony from Bingra, loving the calls. Hopefully no poor ref calls this finals. Yeah, plenty of concern around Liam Kennedy's performance from our commentary team this afternoon in Penrith's win over the New Zealand Warriors. But we are underway for the second half between the Roosters and the Cronulla Sharks. Cronulla lead 12-4 and they have first use of the football through Kafusi. He plays the ball 10 away from his line, and then from the next play they find themselves with KL Ito about 16 away. So Brayley out of dummy half, comes open side right, one off the ruck to Braden Hamlin-Welle, and he'll play the ball 27 away. Brayley quickly out of dummy half again. Talakai takes it up over the 30. It's a good set to start this second half from Cronulla, and Talakai plays it 12 short of halfway as Brayley scoots out of dummy half to the halfway line on the final play. He'll play it to Kennedy at dummy half, and then Trindle can kick from just inside Roosters territory. Goes high, down to Mark Nwanganitawaze's wing. He takes it about 12 away from his line, and then takes the tackle about 19 away and 15 in from the eastern touchline. So now the Roosters with first use of the ball for this second period, and they will have the ball through Rob Toyer about 20 in from the eastern touchline, 22 away from his own goal line. So another arm wrestle start to this second half. Both teams trying to play it cool. Siwa Wong plays it 30 away from the line, and wrong contact on Egan Butcher with Blake Brayley heavily involved, along with Siwa Takiaho. They come to the left. Tedesco to the line, gets it away to Walker. Cuts out one, ends up with Daniel Tupou one-handed back in the field as he was getting close to the touchline, and Billy Smith has to take the tackle 2 away from the touchline, 35 away from Cronulla's line on the last. First receiver is Sam Walker. High kick under pressure for Will Kennedy. Takes it well. He was under pressure from his opposite number, Tedesco, and Kennedy comes up trumps. 9 away from his own line. Poor pass out of dummy half. It means Mulatalo has it 6 away centre field, with Cronulla leading 12-4 after 2 second half.
Well, what a start for this second half. Both teams getting through some powerful sets. We've seen Blake Brayley for the Sharks having a dart out of dummy half, which was a positive sign for them in terms of their ruck speed. But then once the Roosters Roosters got the ball. They piled downfield, a really nice shift to their left, created some soft meters, and they really got deep into the Sharks' territory.
Well, they're blowing up that Brayley tried to scoot out of dummy half, saying that Billy Smith wasn't onside at marker, but the referee was happy, and so from the next play, they kick out of dummy half. On the last, they were caught deep inside their own territory, and Nwanga Nitawaze will be able to start this set for the Roosters in good attacking position. 10 inside Cronulla's half. They trail 12 points to 4. Rob Toyer, the Origin representative this year after just 10 games in the top flight, he takes the tackle 14 inside Cronulla's half, and now they get 6 again, the Roosters. So a good opportunity just to settle things and attack Cronulla's line. Siwa Wong plays at centre field, 30 away. Watson's at dummy half, left for Walker. Then on it goes for Angus Crichton. He goes to ground after the tackle of Nico Hines, and Connor Watson's at dummy half. They go right for Walker. Back on the inside, change of direction for Egan Butcher. He's taken by 2 Cronulla players, including Hamlin Welle in centre field. Watson comes right out of dummy half. Gets it away to Walker. Out the back for Savala. Tedesco, maybe numbers here. Nwanga Nitawaze goes back towards traffic, getting away from the touchline. Takes the tackle 4 away. They come back left. Toyers at dummy half. Savala gets it away to Walker. Continuing on left-hand side, Tedesco and Crichton gets it away to Billy Smith. The Billy Smith pass goes to the touch judge. Oh, can you believe it? The Roosters were starting to get their hands around the throat, and then Billy Smith throws it over the touchline and relieves all sorts of pressure on Cronulla, who get the ball back 15 away from their own goal line, leading 12 points to 4. 4 minutes to go, second half.
Yeah, it was a little bit comical seeing that from Billy Smith, and I'm not sure if he half changed his mind as he was about to throw it and ended up coming at the back behind Tupou and then straight across the touchline. It was a bit of a clumsy effort, but the Roosters were looking good when they were going to their right, created a bit of an opportunity, but all the way to their left, their shifts are looking really good.
Sifa Talakai gets a short pass away to Oregon Kafusi, who takes the tackle 21 away from his line for Cronulla. Brayley out of dummy half, back to Talakai, first receiver. Strong run, 31 away from the line, centre field for the back rower / centre. He's played a fair bit of football this year, given injuries to Kale Ito and also this man, Jesse Ramian, who's back from a thumb injury, gets up and plays at 30 away from the line. Back into the middle for Will Kennedy, tries to get up, goes again, but Angus Crichton's holding onto his boot, not letting him go. So he plays at 35 away. Final play, they go one off the ruck left for Hines. Kicking downfield, James Tedesco takes it back over the 40. Starting this set in good territory for the Roosters, 3 short of halfway. Left they go, Walker. Nwanga Nitawaze finds himself all the way out here on the left and almost gets through as well. Jesse Ramian would have looked at the team sheets and thought he was glad to be on the other side, but he has to make a tackle on him here. Now they go back through the middle of the park for Lindsay Collins, and he's 26 away from the line, centre field. Watson goes right, gets it away to Savala, now to Walker. Danger signs here again. Victor Radley comes back towards traffic, takes the tackle 19 away. Watson out of dummy half, goes short towards the right now. Walker away to Toyer, and Rod Toyer takes the tackle 8 away from the line. Final play for the Roosters, trailing 12-4. Left for Walker, he'll kick across field, looking for Tupou. Oh, great take, Sione Katoa in the air, fingers pointing to the sky, takes it cleanly, and Cronulla coming away from their own end, 3 away, leading 12-4. We've had 6 minutes in this second half. Let's get down to the touchline, Matthew Elliott.
Yeah, well, clearly Trent Robinson's told the Roosters to play some footy because they've shifted the ball more in this first 7 minutes of this half than they did in the first half. They're really playing expansive football. It's putting a heap of pressure on this Sharks defence.
So Cronulla once again having to work hard to get away from their own 20-metre zone. It's final play, and they'll be getting up and playing it in centre field on that 20-metre line through Mulatalo. So Nico Hines needs to get something on this one, but there's too much backspin, and from his own 20-metre line, Tedesco takes it just short of halfway, and then we'll start this set inside Cronulla territory. If we're playing a game of foursome backs at school, it's all about the Roosters here. They are getting territory every set. Now bouncing off one is Siwa Wong, 26 away from Cronulla's line. The Sharks just about holding on. Watson goes short to Tedesco. Tedesco doesn't have options, so he takes the tackle. 16 away from Cronulla's line. Will the Sharks defence hold, or will it break under this Roosters pressure? Savala goes himself, 7 away from the line. Waiting Heading at dummy half is Watson. Comes short left. Walker will grub it towards the in goal. Angus Crichton coming through. He was almost tackled without the ball. Will Kennedy knew he wasn't able to, so he had to drop off and let Angus Crichton dive on the ball, and the defence is broken. The Roosters score the try that you have to say they deserve. The first one of the second half. It is Cronulla 12, the Roosters 8, and the Sydney Roosters have a kick to come. There's 7.5 gone in the second half.
Well, we spoke before the game about Sam Walker and his ability to execute and create plays when seemingly nothing's on, because they go to their left-hand side, and the Sharks, I believe, were numbered up quite well, so they were man for man. It was like they were going to have the Roosters covered for any sort of shift or little play that they were looking at. He sees the space in behind. Will Kennedy's not in a position where he can cover the ball quickly. Angus Crichton's on a really good run off his shoulder, so he just pops it down on the left for a little bit of an awkward kick. It bounces ugly, but Angus Crichton gets through, gets two hands to it, puts it down, nice and confident, and gets the Roosters on the board in the second half.
Touchline, Matthew Elliott.
Yeah, that's a set play, gentlemen, because I've seen that a few times this year. So Angus Crichton knew exactly what Sam Walker was doing there. He drops the ball onto his left foot. He's just ambidextrous in all ways, and beautifully placed kick, and it wasn't a difficult chase for Crichton at all, and he actually got tackled off the ball, so it would have been interesting if he didn't get it down cleanly.
And congratulations to Angus Crichton. 50 NRL tries in game number 198. Scored in his last two games after one against his former club, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, last week. And he also scored against Cronulla in round 20 as well. So Angus Crichton, after none in 8 against Cronulla, now has 2 in 2 against the Sharks. Here's Walker, 10 in from the western touchline, makes no mistake. And the Roosters now are back in this game after those 2 late tries in the first half for the Cronulla Sharks. The Roosters have hit back, and they now only trail 12 points to 10 around the grounds. Halftime in that AFL semi-final, Brisbane 60 to Gold Coast 35, and 0467920222. Loving Dean's input, says Pete on the Sunshine Coast.
Thanks, Pete.
Good lunchtime from Maddie and Zach in Samaritz in Switzerland. Being Port Adelaide fans, we're delighted by yesterday's result, going for the Gold Coast today. Thank you, Maddie and Zach, and hopefully you're enjoying the rugby league as well. And Trish is saying that the Kelpie's running away from her. She's that intense, Trish. You've only got 31 minutes and 15 seconds to see this one through. They're down by 2, your Roosters, and they've just scored through Angus Crichton. Lindsay Collins has the ball, 15 away with the first use of the ball after points. Now here's Mark Nwonganidiwaze, who scored their first in the 23rd minute. He's 20 away from his own line. They come left for Siwa Wong. Has to jump to take that catch, but he does so cleanly, and Cronulla's tacklers hold him up about 24 away from his own line. Watson comes left out of dummy half for the try scorer. Crichton bounces away from one. Dummies goes himself, gets it away to Tedesco, and that's something you don't see from James Tedesco every day. He loses the ball with the line just about open. Angus Crichton ran a beautiful path through the middle, threw in one of the last defenders, went to get the pass away to Tedesco, who goes without it, and Cronulla get a scrum 4 inside Roosters territory. Cronulla 12, Roosters 10, 30 to go.
Yeah, he's gone for the one-handed catch there, James Tedesco, in his run. It was a really nice charge by Angus Crichton, who's really sprung to life after that try. Big carry, knocks off Billy Burns, goes to the middle of the field. A little bit of a show and go to poke his nose through, and the skipper there for the Roosters, he'll be kicking himself for not catching that.
Geez, I reckon he was short odds to run 50 metres there if he caught it cleanly there, James Tedesco. There were some Sharks around, but if he got into open space, it could have been ta-da. As Cronulla play the ball 5 metres inside Roosters territory, then they go to the left and find themselves in centre field through Katoa, 10 inside the Roosters half. Next play, Oregon Kafusi takes it to within 32 of the Roosters line at this southern end of a packed Shark Park on Saturday night. Elimination footy. We're back at the same venue 2 years later. Don't forget, that was a Roosters 13 points to 12 win. Cronulla leading 12-10 at the moment, similarly tight. And could we see some more late drama with field goals here this evening? Hamlin Welle plays it 20 away from the Roosters line. It's the final play. They go to the left. Teague Wilton has to try to squeeze an offload away. It's not a good one. Oh, Connor Watson could just about go either way. Go, Connor. No, he'll be brought to ground 10 short of the halfway line. That one would have been one for the ABC Sport team, but he gets up and plays the ball. They go left for Sam Walker. Angus Crichton tries to give Nico Hines the big don't argue, but he holds on, and then Angus Crichton goes to ground 10 inside Cronulla's half. They go to the right. Billy Smith, he wouldn't have let us forget that one, Connor, if he ran 80 metres, that's for sure. Billy Smith plays it for Connor Watson. Right-hand side for Walker. Now gets it away to Siwa Wong, who just slows things down. And all of a sudden, Cronulla find themselves up the other end of the field, but the Roosters have just turned the dial again. They come back left. They're only 20 away from Cronulla's line. Here's Egan Butcher. He'll take the tackle. 18 away, or make it 8 away from Cronulla's line. Adjacent to the left upright. They come left. Watson. Walker changes direction. Goes towards the line. He loses the ball, though, and it's picked up by Billy Burns for Cronulla. Oh, you can hear 15,000 sighs of relief inside Shark Park as now they try to get away from their own 10 through Sione Katoa, but he's still only 10 away from his own line. This is play 2 now, and the Roosters defence desperate to keep the Sharks down here, 12-10 with 27 to go.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's been a bit of a sigh coming from the Roosters box, I think, with that effort from Sam Walker. Probably his best at times can be a bit challenging if he's trying to come up with a kick in traffic for himself early in the tackle count and gives possession back to the Sharks.
Vanua Blake 36 away. Trindle will kick from inside 40 on the final play. Tedesco takes it on the 20-metre line, and he'll return into Will Kennedy and Hines, and good defending because he was running at a fair clip there. Britton Nicola is on the park for his first game back in 3 games or 4 weeks after that suspension for the high shot of Corey Allen back in the derby against the Dragons a few weeks ago. They'll play the ball here. The Roosters 10 short of halfway, and they come to the left-hand side. Up and playing at about 4 short of the halfway line, and 20 in from the western touch line is Blake Steep. They go to the right now, bouncing off one, and then getting wrapped up by the second is Hugo Savala to inside Cronulla's half. They come right for Watson, short out of dummy half to Walker. Then Tedesco gets it away to Nwanga Nitawaze. He takes a couple of defenders with him. He's brought the ground 26 away. 5 in from the eastern touch line. Wong finds himself at dummy half, and now Walker goes high to the air. Will Kennedy is good underneath it again. Takes it in midair and then goes to ground and takes the tackle of Toya. 10 away from Cronulla's line. They've got to get out of here again, the Sharks. But once again, the Roosters are doing the job defensively. 12-10. Cronulla lead the Roosters. 26 to go. Let's get down to the touchline, Matthew Elliott.
Yeah, 12-10, but this half is being dominated by the Roosters. Absolutely no doubt in it. They're slowly sucking all the energy out of the Sharks team as you watch them come out of their own territory with not much enthusiasm.
Play 5 now, and Billy Burns is only 31 away from his own line. So once again, Hines has to kick from inside 30. This one goes across field, but not far enough. Tupou takes it on the full on his own 30, and the Roosters will start another set inside Cronulla territory, this time by about a centimetre, but still inside just. They go open side right for Billy Smith, and he has it 6 metres inside Cronulla's half. 0467 920 222. You're with Matthew Elliott, Dean Hallertau and Glenn Lauder on ABC Sport. Good to have your company. The 5th place Cronulla Sharks holding on to a slender 12-10 lead over the 8th place Roosters. Walker goes short, and the Roosters are attacking, but they lose the ball through Egan Butcher. Picked up by Kennedy, crabs across field, finds himself 12 short of the halfway line. They get 6 again here, the Sharks, for a flop over the top on Kennedy, and now they want a penalty here. The referee is happy with the contact from Watson. 4 short of the halfway line here, Cronulla. Even though they're in better field position, they still can't get too far forward because the Roosters' defence is doing really well. Brayley out of dummy half goes left for Adden for Vanua Blake. He makes about 8 metres. Decent post-contact leg work there from Adden for Vanua Blake. And he's about 13 inside Roosters territory now. Here's Hines changing direction for Nikora, and he's 33 away from the line in centre field. Scooting out of dummy half is Brayley. There were no markers, but he slips over, and then he takes the tackle 22 away from the Roosters line. Best field position there been in for a long time here, Cronulla. Trindle kicks towards the southeastern corner. Great take by Marky. Mark gets up, goes again, then takes the tackle. 12 away from his line. The Roosters trailing 12-10, 24 to go.
Well, look at that, the catch, and then they get off the ground and make another 4 or 5 metres. Huge effort there from Mark Nawaqanitawase. But the Cronulla Sharks, that last set was a really important one for them, just to get some decent field position. They had been camped in their own end for such a long period, and now they turn the tables a little bit on the Roosters and make it difficult for them to work it out.
Yeah, Radley slow to get up and play the ball, and then Siwa Wong makes it about 4 more metres. Here they go on the attack. Nafahu White's back on the field for the Roosters. He's 33 away from his own line on the final play, so now Savala will have to kick from just outside his own 30, and maybe this is the opportunity in the force and backs for Cronulla to get back into this field position game, because Will Kennedy can start his set 9 away from the halfway line. Hines is at dummy half. He goes right. Oh, Katoa is absolutely whacked by Billy Smith. That's a great shot on Sione Katoa, who's slow to get up. Struggling there, Katoa as well. And then from the next play, they muscle up in defence again. Billy Smith involved. 2 tackles in a row to stop Jesse Ramian. They come right. Hines, quick hands. Kennedy gets it away to Katoa, who's recovered enough over the 40-metre line. He's 33 away. Gets up and plays the ball about 5 in from the western touchline. Hines goes left. Aden Fanua-Blake gets away from Billy Smith. He's made about 73 tackles in this set alone, Billy Smith. He's out on his feet. Final play, they go left, Cronulla. Trindle gets it away to Kaolino. The fans get to their feet. Mulatalo looking for a hat-trick, but he's bundled over the eastern touchline. Centimetres away from the corner post in the far corner. Desperate Roosters defence. They haven't had to do too much of it this second half, but Mulatalo was looking lively there. And again, it's Mark Nawaqanitawase. 12-10 Cronulla, 22 to go.
Yeah, dangerous football there from the Sharks, and on last play they decide to run it, go all the way down the left, and Robert Toya did a really good job to wrangle in Kaoliro, who got on the outside of him. Just gave Mark Nawaqanitawase a bit of space and time to put the shot on Mulatalo and drive him over the sideline. But this game is really to and fro, and now the Sharks are getting 4 in a tackle, pushing the Roosters back.
Yeah, the Roosters are now the team that are struggling to get away from their own end. Siwa Wong is pushed back in the tackle as well and put on his back. Teague Wilton and Aden Fanua-Blake. Now Watson comes left, and Crichton is trying to find a way forward. He's struggling too as well. Plays the ball, they come back right. Savala kicking on play 4 from outside his own 20-metre line, but it's straight down the ground. One bounce, Will Kennedy over the 30-metre line. Links up on the left-hand side for Mulatalo as well. And Cronulla start this set 10 short of halfway. 15 in from the eastern touchline. They lead 12 points to 10. Don't forget, it's curtains for the loser. The winner will go through to a semi-final next week against either Brisbane or Canberra. At the moment, it's the Sharks by 2. Katoa bounces away from a couple. Still going, Sione Katoa takes the tackle. Play 3, 4 metres short of halfway. Brayley dummy half, left-hand side. Billy Burns continues on. Rudolph back on the field for the Sharks. 5 metres inside Roosters territory. Plays it for Brayley. Burns, left-hand side. Trindle dummies, gets it away to Idor. 31 away from the line. Cronulla have wrestled their way back into this. Final play. They come right. There's a quarter of the game to go. Trindle first receiver. Bombs high in the air. Tedesco's there. Takes it well. James Tedesco under pressure. Didn't even have to jump in the end, but there were plenty of Cronulla players around. Now they come left, and Daniel Tupou takes the tackle 20 away from his own goal line. Here's Billy Smith, who's done a mountain of work this second half. Put on his back. 30 away, 26 in from the western touchline. Walker's at dummy half. 1 off the ruck, right-hand side. Blake Steep gets an offload away to Tedesco. The Sharks fans are saying it was forward. I was pretty much in line with it, and I'm happy with the officials there. I reckon it came out backwards. Left-hand side, 1 off the ruck. Strong run by Spencer Lenu back on the field. Watson dummy half, left for Walker. Final play, gets away from his first man, and he gets the bomb away as well. Will Kennedy takes it on the full and then takes the tackle. 20 away from his own line, centre field. Cronulla 12, Roosters 10, 19 and a half to go.
Yeah, well, look at the Sharks players now trying to get back behind the ball. There's a lot lot of tired bodies out there from both teams, but we're up to tackle 3, and the Sharks, they've still got hands on hips, they're still behind the ball. Some huge contact coming there from Lenu on Ronaldo Mulatalo as he comes back in.
Yeah, massive contact from Spencer Lenu there, and Ronaldo Mulatalo staying down, but I think he's just doing his shoelace up. I think he'll be okay. Teague Wilton, 30 away from the line. It's not often you see a front row put a hit on like that and force a shoelace loose. That was how heavy the contact was. Here's Hines, 9 short of halfway, gets up, plays the ball. Brayley left for Trindle. It's outside 40. It's a huge spiralling bomb, but Mark Nwanganita-Waza eats those for breakfast, and he had the sugar on top of that one as well as he takes the catch and returns it up over the 30-metre line. Brought to ground 33 away. 10 in from the eastern touchline. Left-hand side, one off the ruck comes Rob Toyer. He's brought to ground 20 in from the eastern touchline and 13 short of halfway. 2 points in it. Cronulla leading the Roosters. Tupou loses the ball. It's a double knock on Jesse Rainian, but the first one was from Daniel Tupou. He puts his hand up and says sorry to his Roosters teammates, and Cronulla will get a scrum feed. 33 away from the Roosters line with 18.5 to go. 12-10 Cronulla lead. Let's get down to the touchline, Matthew Elliott.
Well, what a high-quality semi-final we're getting to witness here with a classic arm wrestle with ascendancy moving from one team to the other, and that error there was a vital error. And the 12,800 people here tonight are witnessing a game that they're really going to remember.
Filthy, much love to Dino and everyone for the broadcast. I was tipping the Roosters here all day. I'm concerned but still confident, even though I'm very proud West Tigers supporter.
Filthy.
And thank you to La Spezia in Italy listening. Go the Rooster, says this texter. Thank you. Great to hear from our listeners enjoying the delights of Europe. Cronulla have the ball 25 away from the Roosters line on play 1. They go left and held up in the tackle about 15 away is Aden Fanua-Blake. Brayley out of dummy half comes left for Trindle. Then he sends the ball back on the inside for KL Ito. Takes the tackle 15 away from the line. Hines goes to the line himself, takes it on, but he can't find a way past Nafahu White. Brayley left out of dummy half, but Billy Burns goes himself. He's only a metre short. Final play for the Sharks, leading by 2, 17 to go. Brayley left out of dummy half. Trindle, Will Kennedy, he could have got it away to Mulatalo. Took it himself. They were running out of space there, the Sharks. Final play, the Cronulla fullback is brought to ground. Change over Roosters, 3 away from their own goal line. Caught right down in that southeastern corner. 2-point lead, Cronulla, with 17 to go.
It's the second time they've decided to run it and take it all the way to that edge, and obviously they've thought they've got a deficiency in their right side edge defence. The Roosters, we see another mistake here from them bringing it out, and this time it looks to be
Rob Toyer
with the error as the Roosters circle around. They've had to do a lot of defence these last few minutes, and as we said earlier, the fatigue is really setting because this is high quality, a real arm wrestle from both teams. It's going to take a lot to keep the Sharks out here from the Roosters.
Well, I've just seen Trent Robinson in the Roosters box, and if looks could kill, Rob Toyer would be in all sorts of trouble. Touchline, Matthew Elliott, quickly.
Yeah, KL Elro there was the one that came up with the old ankle tap, or the ankle tackle. Got him down and made a big fall, and that's what forced the error.
So 16 minutes to go. Cronulla have a scrum feed 10 metres away from the Roosters line at the southern end of Shark Park in front of the Monty Porter stand. They've only played each other 3 times in finals football. The Roosters have won all 3. They change direction left out of the scrum. Go to Mulatalo looking for a hat-trick. He's got KL Ito. It's a forward pass from Mulatalo to Ito looking for the corner, and the Roosters will get a scrum feed 10 away from their line. Can you believe it on play 1? 12, 10, 15 and a half to go.
Yeah, well, just watching the replay, it's so hard to get an angle on it from here, and it was so far away from us. Hero tried to promote the ball.
Yeah, it might have been
a double movement if it goes to that, because I feel like it touched the line there. There's a call from the touchy of the referee. The Roosters will breathe a big sigh of relief. As a group, they'll get the ball back. I think the first objective for them is to get to a kick.
Well, they've found themselves under pressure, haven't they? The Roosters over the last few minutes, after they were the ones inflicting pressure on the Sharks for most of this second half. It has been a topsy-turvy game. They win the scrum, the Roosters. Tupou plays it 12 away from the line, and now Crichton tries to find a way to get past the Sharks' defence. He gets up and plays it 20 away from the line. Right-hand side, Nafahu White to the 30-metre line. We've got a great finish here with less than 15 to go on a 2.4 game. Here's Tedesco. He was sin-binned in that elimination final 2 years ago. He gets up and plays it. Left-hand side, they come. Walker almost finds a way through. Geez, if he had support for an offload, they could have been away there, the Roosters. But he's forced to take the tackle. It's the last. So Watson out at dummy half for Savala. Shanks the bomb. It's a midfield one, but it bounces backwards into the hands of Nwanganitawaze. Still the last. Oh, he tries to do the chip and chase. Maybe it's one thing Nwanganitawaze can't do because it's plucked out of the air by Nico Hines for the Cronulla Sharks. Pushed out Blake Brayley as he tried to get the pass away from dummy half. He was absolutely whacked there as he gets up now and he's slow to get on his feet. Will Kennedy goes into dummy half. They're on halfway here, Cronulla. They lead 12 points to 10. Katoa, quick play the ball. Kennedy again at dummy half. Scooting over the 40. 36 away from the Roosters line. 13:50 to go. 12-10 the score. Cronulla go left through Trindle. Now he takes the tackle. 27 away. Final play for Cronulla. They come short left for Hines to kick over the top. Dinking for Mulatalo. Oh, Marky Mark takes it. It's a really awkward landing for the Roosters winger. He's slow to get to his feet. He's okay. He's got the wind out of his sails, and the referee said that it was okay, not tackled in the air, just awkward stuff as he hit the deck.
Yeah, it was. I think Mulatalo was coming through. Might have got checked by someone on the way through. Ends up on the ground right underneath Mulatalo. Nwanganitawaze as he takes a beautiful catch, and the Roosters once again racking it out from their own end. The Sharks have got a really good formation defensively.
Sam Walker goes to the line, left for Tedesco. Takes the tackle, 33 away from the line, 12 in from the western touchline. They come right. Walker gets it away to Savala, kicking on play 5 from inside 40, but it's straight down the ground. Taken by Kennedy, 25 away from his line, centre field. Crabs across to the left. He makes it over the 40, and now Will Kennedy's only 3 short of halfway. Play 1. Short out of dummy half, Mulatalo. 10 inside Roosters territory. They're going to roll on here, Cronulla. They come right. Kaolito looking for a way through. Doesn't have one. So he takes the tackle. 33 away from the line, centre field. Brayley goes left. Teague Wilton. He's only 26 away. Matthew Elliott, Dean Hallertau, Glenn Lauder, ABC Sport. Brayley comes right. Cahoon gets it away to Adden Fanua Blake. Held up in the tackle. 19 away from the Roosters line. 12 to go. Cronulla 12-10, and they get a penalty at strip on play 5. 19 away from the Roosters line. They've shot themselves in the foot there, the Sydney Roosters, because Cronulla get another full set here. They're going to take the 2 at 12 points to 10 with 11:50 to go. Points at a premium. Right idea or wrong, Dean Hallertau?
Yeah, look, I don't think it really changes things for the Roosters, and they'll end up getting a breather here because they were on tilt. I was looking out to the right side, and Robert Toyer's had to do an enormous amount of defensive work. He was struggling to get back in line. You look out to the left, Billy Smith made a decision to pull at the ball when the tackle was complete. A fatigue sort of decision there, and there's a number of Roosters players that are hanging on around the middle of the ruck. A lot of speed from the play the ball in the Sharks. So I thought maybe if they kept them going, they might have been able to build, but yeah, 2 points is a try that really does have to come from the Roosters now.
Have they let them off the hook there, Matthew?
Yeah, I'd be playing on. They certainly they've gained the ascendancy here, the Sharks. The Roosters look absolutely spent, so the opportunity to get some field position off a kick restart will be massive for them.
Poor old Trish's Kelpies in another suburb. Here's Nico Hines. About 17 in from the western touchline, and he nails it. 14 points to 10. Nico Hines is 3 from 3 tonight. There's 10 minutes 40 on the clock. Cronulla lead by 4. A converted try, of course, puts the Roosters back in front, but it puts more pressure on them to actually convert that as well, Dino.
Yeah, it does. But I was just watching their body language, and they take the big breaths in when that kicks. They just assume it's going over, or they're on to the next job. I'm watching Angus Crichton, who's had a really big second half. He's barking at the men around him. He's shouting to the men on the other side of the field. He's trying to get his troops going and find that extra kick of energy.
Third quarter AFL semi-final. Brisbane 73, Gold Coast 38. So it looks as though the Lions Dragons will be through to a prelim at the expense of their baby brothers, the Gold Coast Suns, who may have come to an end in their first finals appearance. Speaking of finals, it's an elimination 5v8, and it is 5th place Cronulla leading 14-10 over the 8th place Roosters here, and the Sharks have the ball 30 metres away from their own line through Jesse Colquhoun. Gets up and plays it 21 in from the western touchline. Left-hand side for Fanua Blake. Strong carry through the middle. Nafahu White comes over the top. Tackles him 21 away in centre field. Brayley coming right out of dummy half. Hines changes direction, and he has coming over the top Angus Crichton, and forcing the ball free from Nico Hines. That's a really good tackle from Crichton as Hines changed direction and ran back into traffic. Roosters scrum on the halfway line. Cronulla 14, Roosters 10. 9 minutes to go.
Yeah, he's seen that space. He got on the inside of Spencer Leniu, who was trying to adjust down the short side, trying to get across and be in his position in the defensive line. And it was a big step from Nico, but for the Roosters, Angus Crichton, he doesn't go to sleep on the job. He comes across to shut the gate, fill the space, and he shuts him down with a really nice tackle.
Don't forget, Penrith ending the Warriors season 24 points to 8 earlier this afternoon. Brett Sprigg, Luke Lewis and John Gibbs in Canberra tomorrow afternoon for the Raiders and the Broncos. And the Roosters here are battling for their survival. Rob Toyer, after they win the scrum, takes the tackle 8 inside Cronulla's territory. They come one off the ruck, left-hand side, the Roosters. 8.5 minutes left of their season as it stands. But can they find something here? One off the ruck, left-hand side, Spencer Leniu. 32 metres away from Cronulla's line. The Sharks defending for their season. Right-hand side, Walker, Savala, Tedesco, knocked forward by Rob Toyer. I meant to say batted on, but it was knocked on in the end as well because he batted it on forward. So Rob Toyer tries to bat it on to Nwanganita Waze. It goes forward, and they're starting to try things here.
Watch it. They have a challenge. Yeah, Bucky. Captain's challenge from the Roosters. On-field rulings a knock-on the bat-on. Roosters are claiming that someone was tackled off the ball, mate.
The Roosters lost their challenge in the first half.
Yeah,
Was it the Roosters or the Sharks that lost their challenge?
I'm not going to say anything. The Sharks were blowing up, but they didn't have one.
On the James Tedesco catch.
Tedesco one, it went backwards, that's right, yeah. So anyway, they're saying that this bat-on went backwards, but it's gone...
Contact on Victor Radley on the inside.
A metre forward. Metre and a half forward, I reckon, from...
I've told him, mate. Let them go through the process.
It's also grey area as well. So they're looking at contact on Victor Radley, who comes through here. Braden Trindle sticks out the forearm. Braden Trindle could be in a...
Victor's looking to get through space. Braden unnecessarily drops the shoulder, which is a penalty. The captain's challenge will be successful.
So Braden Trindle does not need to raise the forearm there at Victor Radley coming through, because the ball is a million miles away from Victor Radley. That is ridiculous from Braden Trindle. Touchline, Matthew Elliott.
Yeah, ridiculous is not inaccurate way of describing that, albeit a touch unlucky there. Victor Radley played a bit of a part in actually getting that penalty as well.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't think he needed to raise the arm at all, as the Roosters are 20 metres away from Cronulla's line. Standing up in the tackle is Nafahu White. Watson's at dummy half, left for Walker, back on the inside, Leniu. Spencer Leniu takes the tackle 20 metres away from Cronulla's line, centre field. The Roosters trailing 14-10, 7.5 to go. They come left. Angus Crichton, one try tonight, brought to ground 15 away from the line. Watson comes right, dummy half. Walker, Savala gets it away to Rob Toyer. Holds onto it on this occasion, doesn't pass to Nwanganita Waze, and he's taken the tackle 12 away from the line. They come left for Savala to Walker to Blake Steep, and Blake Steep is 10 away in centre field. It's the final play for the Roosters. 7 minutes to go. They're down by 4. Walker will kick towards the northwestern corner. Taken by Katoa in goal. 20-metre restart. 7 tackles set for Cronulla with a 14-10 lead. Less than 7 to go.
Big play there from Sione Katoa, and it's a great return to the middle. Gets his winger over involved as well at Mulatalo. Some boost from the crowd claiming the Roosters are offside. but the Roosters will try and do everything they can here to try and squeeze another error out of the Sharks.
Well, they'll take the tackle 9 metres and 99 centimetres away from the 30-metre line anyway. So Ronaldo Mulatalo almost made the advantage line. He's clutching at his right knee as well, but he's still moving around, albeit gingerly. Now from the subsequent play, they go left, and KL Iro has it on 3, 12 short of halfway. Back open side right, one off the ruck comes Kennedy, looks high. The fans aren't happy. Nafahu White gets up, gets away with it. They come right, Cronulla. Going himself is Hamlin, I beg your pardon, that is Vanilla Blake, and he takes the tackle 10 inside Roosters territory. Brayley dummy half, left for Toby Rudolph, loses the shorts, but he's got blue undies underneath, so nothing doing for Toby. Gets up, they go left. 5th play, high ball in the air. Oh, Nwanganita Waze's never not taking that, is he? Flying through the air. Marky Mark takes it comfortably and takes the tackle 15 away. They come on off the ruck left. Rob Toya, they've got 5 minutes 40 to find something here. The Roosters, they trail 14-10.
Yeah, there's a mistake here from dummy half, Connor Watson. He just throws it on the ground and knock on. Tired effort there from Connor Watson, and you just said, is there something in the tank for the Roosters? 5.5 minutes to go. They've just made an interchange. Lindsay Collins has come back on the field. Blake Sneed had a really good effort. Another challenge from the Roosters. I'm not sure how this one will go.
Chance from the Roosters.
Connor Watson gave himself up.
Connor Watson, and then he loses it.
Yeah, is it just shy at the stumps? Are they hoping that there might be someone in the ruck? But it looked fairly open and shut. I think they're just hoping that maybe there was ruck interference.
Is onside.
Or has it gone backwards?
It's gone backwards, but then Victor Radley loses it anyway.
His right hand, then travels forward across the ground, which is a knock-on. The challenge is unsuccessful.
So there's a knock-on from Watson.
Yeah, okay. So the challenge is unsuccessful, and Cronulla get a scrum feed 20 away from the Roosters line. Dino just asked the question, Matthew, are the Roosters watching this one slowly slip?
Yeah, well, in the context of where this contest is at the moment, that's a massive error made by the Roosters there, because they were going to pop the cork there and throw everything at the Sharks. Sharks now get a whole set 20 metres out. I don't think they'll kick on last play either. We'll see them go again and have a shot at the corner.
Dan and Sean are listening. Outback Camping Manly fans, strap yourselves in, because 14-10, Cronulla lead the Roosters and the Sharks are attacking the line. Brayley's at dummy half, 20 metres away. Open side right they come, and Cronulla find themselves 19 away from the Roosters line in centre field. Getting up and playing it is Mulatalo, still struggling on that knee. One off the ruck right for Colhoun, 11 short of the line. Brayley continues right for Hines, thinks about going back on the inside to Rudolph, takes the tackle 5 away, 20 in from the western touchline. Brayley comes left, gets it away to Trindle, back on the inside for Adden Fanua Blake, straightens on his run, settles things down, he's under the sticks, 4 metres away at the southern end. It's the final play here for Cronulla. Toby Rudolph scores! The Sharks will move through to the second week of the NRL finals, and it's thanks to Tobias Eric Rudolph scoring next to the right hand upright to make it 18 points to 10 with a kick to come. 4 minutes 28 to go. Sharks fans celebrate. It's his first try of the season, and what an important one it is for Cronulla. 18-10 with a kick to come.
It puts a smile on your face seeing someone like Toby Rudolph cross the line, and he's a guy that plays without fear or any self-preservation. The way he carries the ball, he just rolled the sleeves up. He presented a really good option for Blake Brayley. He was onside, he put the head down, he ran hard, he gets that pass, he bumps straight into the Roosters skipper James Tedesco, bumps him off, and those tired defenders around the middle of the Roosters ruck, there's little they can do. Nafahu White tries to come in and help Lindsay Collins as well on the way down, but no one was going to stop Toby Rudolph in front of the Southern stand and Monty Porter stand, and the Sharks fans go up.
Touchline, Matthew Elliott.
Yeah, great play by Blake Brayley. He's got Rudolph out the front, and of course on last play, he's got Nico Hines out the back. Looked like she's definitely going to pass Nico Hines. Does a late fake and just hits the lead runner, and yeah, Toby Rudolph does the rest of the work there, and Sharks will be very, very happy about that.
We are on air until 10:30 Eastern this evening, so keep those text messages coming through as well. 0467 920 222. We'll get plenty of post-game reaction from the Sharks and the Roosters. Nico Hines makes it 4 from 4 tonight, and the Roosters are facing an early end to 2025 with Toby Rudolph's try, giving Cronulla a 20-10 win. Toby Rudolph will see this as vindication as well, because after that 2023 semi-final, elimination final, when he gave away a knock-on late in that game, Luke Keary came up to him after the game and said, mate, I stripped it. So Toby Rudolph has been filthy for 2 years. He's now got a try that will give his side another week of finals football. The kickoff is short, backwards off Daniel Tupou, into the arms of Britton Nicola, and it's probably starting to go wrong for the Roosters now as they try to come up with the miracle plays. They'll just put the ball under the jumper here, the Sharks. Jesse Colquhoun takes the tackle 10 short of halfway in centre field, and now one off the ruck, right come the Cronulla Sharks to be a metre short of the halfway line through Britton Nicola. Playing the ball for Brayley. One off the ruck left again for Colquhoun's second hit up of this set. He's 6 metres inside Roosters territory. Brayley picks it up at dummy half, gets it away to Hines, then just gets the one-handed ball offloading from Nicola. It's only 2 players taking hit-ups at the moment in this half, in this set. Final play for Cronulla. Nico Hines, no surprise, grubbers towards the touchline. Bullets it over the sideline, and the Roosters will get the ball 10 away from their own goal line. There's 2 minutes 20 to go. They trail by 10, and they're 90 metres away from the Cronulla goal line.
Yeah, they need points on these first few plays here. They just need to go as long as possible, because the clock's going to get down. They're not going to have another opportunity.
Mark Nwonga-Nitawaze is held up in the tackle, 12 away from his line. Left-hand side they come for Victor Radley, and Victor Radley takes the tackle 14 away in centre field. They come left, Watson out of dummy half for Walker. Tedesco, can he come up with something? He's been magnificent all season, James Tedesco. Unfortunately for him, his season will come to a close. Hopefully we see him in green and gold in a few weeks' time. Right-hand side, Nafahu White. He's held up in the tackle, 20 away in centre field. No doubt lining up for New Zealand in the Pacific Championship, which we'll hear on ABC Sport as well. Right-hand side, they throw it. Mark Nwonga-Nitawaze. Wouldn't we love to see him playing for the Kangaroos? He goes towards the eastern touchline. Almost goes out and gets a kick away somehow, but it's into the hands of the Cronulla Sharks and Kale Idor. And with 1:10 to go, this will possibly be the last set, certainly for the Cronulla Sharks. See how they can slow this set down to close out this elimination final. And the curse of the 8th place team goes on. Still only 4 times since 1999 has the 8th team won in the first week of the finals, and that stat will remain. And it's another team who has conceded 50 this season who cannot win the premiership, which by my count makes it only Canberra left, as the Roosters losing in round 1 by 50 points to 14 to Brisbane. Here's Cronulla on the final play. Braden Trindle will kick it into the eastern touchline. Eastern fans over there celebrating with their Cronulla flags. There's plenty of them. There's still 20 seconds to go. The Roosters aren't in a hurry to pack this scrum. They know the writing on the wall. Cronulla are celebrating. 10 seconds to go. In fact, it was the last play, so it's a Roosters changeover. Tedesco, fittingly, the best player for the Roosters in 2025, finishes with the ball in hand. But it is a celebration for the Cronulla Sharks. They are through to the semi-finals in week 2 of the NRL finals, and they have broken a 7-game week 1 losing streak dating back to 2017. The Cronulla Sharks victorious over the Sydney Roosters in this elimination final, 20 points to 10. We'll get reaction from Matthew Elliott in just a few moments, but Dean Hallertau, your immediate thoughts?
Yeah, well, I thought it was a really tough performance from the Sharks. I don't think either team was really clinical, and we didn't get a real flow to the game. but they were asked a lot of questions defensively early in the second half. But they spent an enormous amount of time inside their own 40, barely being able to get past the halfway line, and the Roosters just kept returning and winning that ground battle. But they eked their way back. They got down into some of their own good field position, and they started to pile the pressure on the Roosters. And as that battle of attrition sort of crept on, the Sharks got the better of them, and the Roosters ran out of answers really quickly. They came up with mistakes, errors, turnovers in bad position, penalties as well, and it was really just the toughness of the Sharks that got them through. The late try to Toby Rudolph was icing on the cake. Really nice run after some sustained possession down on the Roosters line. There's some really consistent performances across the whole pack for the Sharks. I think it wasn't a standout from them. I thought it was a contribution by all of them. Like I said, it wasn't clinical, but it was tough, and that's the kind of football you want to play in finals. And, as you look forward to next week, being able to back up that attitude.
Let's get down to Matthew Elliott.
Jaden Trindle, obviously just recognising the crowd there, mate. That was a tough competition sitting on the sideline. What was it like out there?
It's a very tough game, mate. As you'd expect from the Roosters, and obviously semi-finals footy, but I think the crowd got us home in the end there. They're unbelievable.
Yeah, it is a great home crowd. There was some really good execution down your left side there early in that first half there. Was that planned, or was it you just playing off the cuff?
No, that's just footy, mate. Eyes are footy. In these big games, you don't get too many opportunities, so you got to ice them when you get them.
Yeah, and what about your focus at half-time? Because they came out, they put a heap of pressure on you at the start of that second half. How did you stick in the game?
No, we obviously knew it was coming, so we just had to come out and contain it for a bit, stay in it, and come back around, and we started to play some footy again. It was awesome.
What do you reckon the coach is going to say to you about, like, post-game, reviewing it, and then what you need to do this week?
No, I'm not too sure. I think he'd be happy with it. Obviously, his old club and here in front of the home fans, but I'll have a look and have a hear when they get in there. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah, mate, it was an outstanding performance from yourself, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, good to see Braden Trindle back from that ankle injury last week. Quite remarkable that they played that spine 1, 6, 7 and 9 all the way through this season until that game against Canterbury last week after that ankle injury to Braden Trindle. And Matty spoke about it before the game, and we touched on it, Dino, the relationship that him and Nico Hines have in terms of the way that they lead this side. But Nico in particular today led this Cronulla side really impressively, and Matty's down there with another winning Shark.
I'm down here with Billy Burns. Billy, you played from the edge into the middle this game, and what was it like?
Yeah, it was good. It was tough, but I think we just got to our process in that second half and really just got to our kick, and we just defended our heart out.
Yeah, what about your own kicking game there, mate, in that first half there? Were you proud of that one?
If it sat up, it would have been much better. But I was just watching it, and it just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. I was hoping it was going to pull up, but got to work on that one at training.
What about the opposition, mate? They just kept coming at you, particularly at the start of that second half. How do you actually maintain your focus in the middle when you're playing under that amount of pressure?
Yeah, they're such a dangerous team. They got strike players across the whole park, but we just knew we had to stay to our defensive system, and we just kept digging our heels in that we just stay at it and just keep getting to our kick when we had the ball and keep pushing them away, and it'll turn.
Was that a focus in your preparation this week? Because it looks like your scramble defence was just coming from everywhere.
Yeah, mate, that starts in the pre-season. We just try and train our defence all year, and then the more we care for each other, the more that we see the end goal at the end of the year, the desire just grows stronger.
Well, mate, you've got an exciting week in front of you there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you play next week.
Cheers, Matty. Cheers.
Yeah, Billy Burns, former St George Illawarra Dragon as well, of course, spending time with Matty at the Dragons over the last few years. A Park spaceman as a junior, getting through to the finals. And it's nice to see the Roosters all still out on the field here at Shark Park. They're all staying together as a team. They know that unfortunately their season is over, but given the start that they had this season, Dino, it was a really impressive turnaround, and now Matty is getting some reaction from unfortunately the losing side.
Yeah, just here with Daniel Tupou, mate, that was a really tough contest, and I know it must be hurting, but on reflection of the season, how do you look back on 2025?
Yeah, obviously it's devastating. Wasn't the year we wanted, but we had a strong back end, and we took a lot of confidence to come in tonight, but Sharks were just a better team tonight. And I wish him all the best next week.
Yeah, there was a struck match in that game, really, when you look at it. You must be proud of the development of some of the young players in the team this year.
Yeah, for sure. Most of the young boys stepped up and they did an extremely great job for us, and it's a confidence booster moving forward for next year in the future for the boys. But yeah, again, it's tough, and yeah, we'll take a lot of lessons in tonight's game and move forward to next year, I suppose.
Just to give our listeners a little bit of an insight, Toots, what do you do now? How do you actually debrief this?
Yeah, it's going to take some time, obviously. Yeah, it's going to take a few days to reflect on this game, but as always, we always bounce back bigger and stronger, but it just wasn't our year this year.
Yeah, mate, I just want to congratulate on you, yourself and the whole club, mate. I thought that the development during the season was really good to watch.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much, and yeah, it is what it is, I suppose.
I can see the disappointment, mate, and I really appreciate you taking the time to. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to Daniel Tupou. Obviously, really tough for losing sides, especially at this time of the season. But, Matty was right in what he was saying there, Tino. Obviously, the fact that maybe we can get one more Rooster, Matthew, if they're still... sorry, Matthew, to make you change direction, because they are still obviously milling about on the field. It'd be good to get some more reaction. We're on for a while, for another 45 minutes or so. 0467920222, and some of the youngsters this season were outstanding as well for the Roosters. And don't forget, their halfback obviously only played 8-9 games now, but their young 5'8" was amazing this season. Hugo Savala in his first NRL season. He's with Matthew.
Hey Hugo, obviously pretty tough to swallow down that when you look at all the effort that the team put in, particularly tonight. It was a really tough game. Yeah, how do you assess it?
Yeah, look, we fucking banged the intensity tonight, and we probably just didn't ice some on the end of it. But no, we fucking showed up tonight, but we just didn't quite have the finish.
And when you look back on the season, and you reflect on it, can you see the development of the team with a bit of pride?
Yeah, for sure. I think we built it into the season nicely, and we were really confident coming into tonight, and we tried our guts out tonight. We didn't get the result.
What about yourself personally, when you look at going forward in your development? What are some of the key things that you'd like to focus on?
I'd like to keep working on my kicking game, and keep working on my running game as well, but also just managing game management as well. That's a big thing for me.
Well, I'd just like to personally congratulate you on a really good season, mate. You were definitely a first grade player, and I know you're disappointed now, but you did a great job.
Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. Cheers.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Hugo Savala. Apologies to anyone who may have been offended, but we know what it's like. Obviously, you lose a game of footy and you're heartbroken. So Hugo Savala wearing his heart on his sleeve there, and the youngster who really, he's only 23 years of age. He's had a great season. He's still only on a development contract. That'll get upgraded, obviously. But the other question mark, of course, is there's plenty of talk around Daly Cherry Evans coming to the Roosters, but with a guy like Hugo Savala playing so well this season, and then obviously Sam Walker, if Daly Cherry Evans does go on to play next season, it'll be interesting to see how they make it work. Matthew Elliott is got another Cronulla winner.
With Adam Fanua, Blake, mate, that was a really tough game through the middle third. How are you feeling at the moment?
Yeah, definitely feeling the pinch of that game now. Look, we knew that Roosters is a quality team. They're the team that everyone was scared to verse come to the finals, and we embraced the opportunity to go up against them, and we come out with the result, and it's very pleasing.
Yeah, you'd also be pretty proud of those guys that you played through that middle third tonight, because you were really tested, weren't you?
Yeah, definitely. We knew that coming into the contest, everyone had a high expectation on their pack. They got labelled the best back in the comp and all of that. No one really gave us a shot. So for us to stick together and keep turning over sets, going set for set against them, and obviously to come away with the treats is very pleasing.
And what about moving into next week? How do you, as one of the experienced players, how do you shift everyone's focus on what you need to do next?
Yeah, look, the messaging's pretty much simple. Go into the set now, enjoy this win, but come tomorrow we have to reset, refocus, because we're coming up against another very quality team in either Broncos or Canberra, and we're going to definitely need to go into that game with the same mindset that we had this game.
And you believe that the confidence exists and the ability exists in the team to go to the next level?
100%. Like I said before, no one's given us a shot. No one even gave us a shot this far. But to prove them all wrong and for us boys to keep earning each other's respect is, it's incredible. And we're riding our wave of momentum at the moment, and we're just going to keep going.
I really appreciate your time, and I've taken them off your kids there, and they got a couple of beautiful children there, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Well done, Adam Fanua-Blake. Thank you, Matthew. You've outdone yourself. If you want to get any more, you can, but don't feel as though you need to. We've had plenty of reaction from downstairs. If you want to come up and join us, Matthew, we would love to have you back up in the commentary box. Adam Fanua-Blake, a great season, averaging 162 metres since coming to the Sharks from Manly. It's been a remarkable season for him, and just that experience in the forward pack. A couple of games, what's he run over 200? 1, 2, 3, 4 occasions this season. So, 0467 920 222 is the text line. But Dean Hallertau, when you reflect on those interviews, obviously you can see Cronulla are flying high, and they don't know what to expect next week because of their opponent next week. But obviously the Roosters, you could really hear the disappointment, and they know that they've probably missed out on the opportunity to achieve something.
Yeah, and we spoke about before the game, and Matty pointed out the fact that they are on an upward trajectory, the Roosters, and there's a lot of young guys around, and they're starting to find out who they are as a squad, and they're really turning into a strong unit. So I think that's going to come for them. Disappointment obviously tonight, but the Sharks themselves, one of the things I picked up on there from Adam Fanua-Blake was just that it's us against the rest of them. Yeah. Everyone's written us off, and I did notice, and I have noticed, I often hear them playing the Tom Petty song, I Won't Back Down. Yeah. So I think that might be a bit of the mentality or a bit of a theme for the year, is that they've maybe underachieved the last few years, and it's really a siege mentality about taking on the rest of the competition and really having each other's back. So whether or not that's true, that's kind of the sort of sense I'm getting from what their brand is this year.
Well, here's an omen for Cronulla fans. The last 2 seasons, that was the theme song for the Central Coast Mariners. They've been playing that one as they run out onto Central Coast Stadium, and they've won 2 grand finals until last season. But yeah, so maybe the Cronulla Sharks, as they await the loser, I beg your pardon, of Canberra and Brisbane tomorrow afternoon from 4 p.m. at Canberra Stadium, which is going to be a great game as well. But
they've got a good history down in Canberra for finals matches, so if it's the Canberra as the losers, they'll back themselves going down there.
We'll have to start looking at those stats as we head into week 2 of the finals. Just looking at some of these statistics, no surprise that Mark Nawaqanitawase ran almost 200 metres. Adam Fanua-Blake, who Matthew obviously just spoke to, ran for 130. Angus Crichton ran for 114, and Nafahu White 106. In terms of tackles, obviously Blake Brayley making 39. Lindsay Collins 38 tackles, a big workload from him. Teague Wilton 37, Connor Watson 36, and Jesse Colquhoun 33. Billy Burns 32, along with Victor Radley. And then you've got Angus Crichton, Adam Fanua-Blake, and Toby Rudolph, all with 31. So they were the players who led the stats for this one. Matthew Elliott has joined us back in the box. Geez, that second half was a little bit weird, wasn't it, Matthew? The Roosters started that second half incredibly strong, and then the Sharks had to work so hard to get back into the arm wrestle.
Yeah, I actually thought the Roosters were actually going to snap their back, because the amount of possession they had and field position they had early in that half, the Sharks were going absolutely nowhere in possession. I think some of their sets they would have made 15, 20 metres in the whole 6 tackle, and they're only getting to kick the ball to halfway. And so I thought the Roosters were actually going to go home because they were taking the life out of them. But footy's an amazing thing, and listening to Adam Fanua-Blake there about the fortitude that they showed as a team, that they obviously had spoken about that prior to the game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It was a tough effort, and I was with you, Matty. When they were getting really strangled down their own end of the field, you could see the energy going out of them. The Roosters were growing and growing and growing, but they were able to withstand it, and then they flipped it on its head, and it was the Roosters coming out of their own end, making mistakes, and really paddling. They couldn't get up the other end and create those attacking opportunities.
It was interesting in that first half. We spoke about the missed tackles from Cronulla. Obviously played a big part in it, and the Roosters, after scoring that first try, Cronulla still managed to get back and lead at half time. But even still in that second half, or after full time, Cronulla missed 41 tackles to the Roosters 22, but it was possibly just in that second 20 minutes of the second half where the Roosters almost just lost a little bit in attack as well as letting Cronulla come back. Matthew?
I just think there were some really key errors, and in really tight semi-finals, it always comes down to key moments. And there were two. There was a forward pass out of dummy half, and then there was another error, I think, on play 1 or 2. Sharks didn't take advantage of that because they came up with their own error from the scrum play, if you remember. But yeah, it was just a couple of things that just turned the momentum around and gave the Sharks just enough of a sniff, and also allowed them to build their energy.
The Sharks were asking lots of questions, but they were really stretching the Roosters' defence. They had to cover a lot of ground. There's players moving around everywhere, and as they got tired, I mentioned about the right side. So Robert Toya, who's a really great defender, he was running back. It would have been about the 65th to 70th minute. He's running back, and he was legless. And he's a centre. Centres don't often get legless during matches because they've got good times to recover. But he was really struggling to get back on side, and he had to just scrounge to make the next defensive effort, as were the middle. So it was a really tough performance from the Sharks, and similar to what we've seen from at different stages throughout the year. Just that ability to withstand pressure and turn it around.
Flint, sorry.
So I was just going to say, I think that's the when you talk about fortitude and resilience, I think that's the best I've seen them with that, because they had to scramble. So the start of that second half has still got me confused as to how they got back into the game.
You just spoke to Braden Trindle, obviously, after the game, and I was going to ask Dino about the relationship between him and Nico tonight, based on what you guys were speaking about in the pre-game. You obviously went to other interviews and we didn't come back to it, but you mentioned the fact that both of those players have those leadership roles, and last week Daniel Atkinson was able to sort of sit back and allow Nico to lead. Tonight Nico did that leading, I feel as though. Matty, how did you see that?
I put my hand up, I was wrong. I say that in the fact that in the past what I've seen is Nico's almost been too kind.
Yeah.
And they share too much stuff. That did not happen tonight. It was quite clear as to who was running the team, and I thought Trindle's contribution at those right times, those 2 try passes that he put on, that they weren't just normal try assists. That there was some subtlety and some real high-level execution in those.
He was a really good kicking option too. When Nico didn't have the kick, or he wasn't set up for a decent kick, they went to Trindle, and Trindle just took the kick on and got it in a good spot. He didn't come up, I don't think he came up with any kick errors. He kicked really solid as that sort of second option for Nico. So they worked well with the way it went tonight.
And Trindle's got the longest kick.
Yeah.
He's definitely got the best boot on him for sure.
And do you think it's important for Nico to maybe just change a little bit of that reputation that sometimes he has, that he can have a tendency to go missing in big games?
Well, he didn't go missing tonight, so I just think that I just think he needs to take momentum out of this performance tonight. And we've seen this in the past. He got voted the best player in the competition, not by accident. He was the best player in the competition. I just feel like that sometimes he's too generous and doesn't allow himself or believe in himself enough to actually dominate the game.
His confidence, he seems like a guy that he grows. The more games he plays where he gains confidence, the better he gets next game. He was pumped up for the last 20 minutes of that game. He was clapping to the crowd, he was pumping the crowd up, and he was right where he wanted to be.
And he went ballistic at full time.
Yeah.
He was I think he hugged every player twice at least. I was trying to get to him, but his footwork was too good.
He's a lovely bloke. He obviously wears his heart on his sleeve. He does so much work off the field as well. So delighted for Nico Hines to be alive for another week in the finals. I'd like to congratulate the Roosters on a good season. Had injuries in a young team. Robbo is a great coach and motivator. administrator, says your mate Filthy. Dino, as we look back at the Roosters, and once again, it was something that I touched on in that period at the end of the game when you were getting the interviews, Matthew. They started the season terribly. They were 1 from 7. They obviously had Sam Walker out for pretty much the whole season. They scraped into the 8, but how do they look back on this season?
Oh, they've got a lot of young players. You've got to be careful interviewing young players.
Yeah, I know, yeah, apologies.
I learned that.
Yes.
I learned that tonight.
We were all a bit concerned as you asked in the second and third question how many more there were, whether it was going to be a Chris Hyington all over again in 2005.
Anyway, let's move on. But what they did do is they developed a lot of young players. We talked about the amount of players that exited the Roosters last year. Like that, there was a fair repertoire of highly talented players, and the fact that they've got so many young players coming in, I reckon they've got a really good balance. And as I said before the game, it's got a Canberra feel about it, where they've got a really good level of high quality experienced players with these young players coming through. So I think they'll be a super threatening team next year.
Yeah, I think they'll be hard on themselves because that's just the nature of the Roosters. Like, they got high standards, high expectations, and yes, they've had a lot of injuries and they've had to blood a lot of young players, but they'll be hard on themselves and they'll reflect and review themselves really hard, but they'll take the lessons and start working towards what that looks like next year.
Can we make an assumption that DCE is going there?
I was just going to ask that question, Matthew. If you're a coach, if you're Trent Robinson and you have Daly Cherry Evans in your 30 next season, how do you use him?
Oh, he's
starting half. So where Sam Walker goes to 6?
Yeah.
He goes back to...
Well, he's a kid.
New South Wales Cup.
And he'll get plenty of time to play footy. He's a big kid.
Yeah,
massive, isn't he?
Really tall.
I'm not going to speak about his dialect, but he must be 6'3" or 6'4", and for a half, that's amazing. And he's got a really good kicking game. So, it'll be interesting to see how they do balance that in. But, I think if you've got DCE there, you got to play him.
He went to Scots College. I'm not sure where he gets that kind of language. You'd think he would have been brought up in a more proper way in the eastern suburbs. Or am I just making assumptions about eastern suburbs private schools?
I'm not going to even go there.
0467 920 222. Wayne from Mildura. I beg your pardon. I did say since he came from Manly, Adam Fanua Blake. Of course, he came from the Warriors. Yeah, but I had the maroon and white on the brain. The late season bye has really worked for the Sharks. The defence tonight really shone through. Taking the 2 points proved decisive. Yeah, that was a big decision, obviously, to take that penalty goal, wasn't it? They were leading 12 points to 10, and Matty in particular, you sort of said that you would have put the foot on the throat. Dino was, a little more understanding, but, it still was a huge decision in the context of the game.
Well, the Roosters were legless at the time. They were gone, so I was just looking at the vulnerability, and the Sharks hadn't had a lot of field position in that half. It was the first time they'd actually had a couple of sets inside the 20-metre area. So you go back to halfway and you're coming off, you're pushing off the back fence again, and there was one error that was made by the Roosters down that end of the field that really let them off the hook. So I'm not saying, that it was the wrong decision, but I wouldn't have gone that way.
It was a little bit of an opening for the Roosters to get back into it. That defensive set after the kickoff, they forced an error.
Yeah.
But then they made an error themselves. But they were charged up, they were ready to go, and they looked like they felt that was the opening they needed.
Yeah, that was a Crichton tackle on
Nico Hines.
So, and that gave them that field position. I thought, okay, here we go. But again, what the Sharks did all night, they just scrambled. Yeah. They missed a lot of tackles, but there was always 3 players there as soon as a tackle was missed.
Chris from Forest Lodge says, I think DCE should play New South Wales Cup if he comes to the Roosters. Savala, Walker and Sandon Smith deserve to be halves. Well, Sandon Smith's going to Newcastle, so he won't be in the halves next year at the Roosters. I don't think that will happen, Chris. Appreciate your text message. We will come back and wrap up plenty more of this one here at Shark Park, where it's finished Cronulla 20 points to 10 over the Sydney Roosters to qualify for the second week of the semi-finals, where Cronulla will play the loser of the Brisbane versus Canberra game tomorrow. The Canberra home game against Brisbane tomorrow afternoon at 4. In the AFL semi-final, fourth quarter, Brisbane leading Gold Coast 93-45. So the Lions will be through to that prelim next week. And earlier in New Zealand at Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland, the Warriors kicked an early penalty goal. They led 2-0. They conceded a try right on half-time. They trailed 6-2. And it was the Penrith Panthers who survived. They went through 24 points to 8 in that 6th versus 7th game. So the 6th-placed Warriors season has ended with a 24 points to 8 defeat at the hands of the Penrith Panthers. Watching for us was Michael Carianis, Luke Lewis and Brett Sprigg.
Well, 13 might be unlucky for some, but it's the winning streak that Penrith now has in finals. And most importantly, of course, they keep the quest for a 5th straight competition alive, Glenn. It was a bit of a scoring stalemate in the first half. The game began in rainy conditions at Mount Smart Stadium. The first score of the game, a penalty goal from Tanner Boyd, and the Warriors led 2-0. The rain abated, but it was slippery conditions throughout much of the game, especially the first half.